Hello, everybody. How is everyone? Check if everything is all right. Let's this a little higher. And hope everybody enjoys today's show. Let me check if everything is all right here. It does look like it's all right. And hope that everything will be fine. Let me check this. Move this here. And move this here. And here we go. Okay, so let's start. Move the chat room this side. Hey, everybody, welcome aboard. This is the Saturday edition of the Shortwave show. And we are here to entertain and hope that you have fun. For those that are tuning in, this is a show about radio. And one of the things that is happening right now, there's a pirate on 6880. It's a little off, but that is... That's... It's a little off. There we go. So this sounds perfect. So 6880, I got it at 6880.05. And that's Mixed Radio International, Pirate. Pretty strong here. 6880 upper sideband. So check it out. We are back with the console, as you can see. So I can actually, for example, I've even plugged the St.G in here. If we try it out with the Pirate, I can go and tune 6880, enter. I can go into upper sideband. And let's put the volume for the this receiver. I think it's this one. So, step. It's kind of tough to tune sideband when the precision isn't totally there. But anyways, I got it. I got this on the console. We have the Texan PL990 on the console. We have the SDR on the console. And we can also play through my phone on the console. So I hope you enjoy what we have today and have fun. There might be a little moment where I need to actually go off because I'm waiting for a package, and it's apparently in the delivery truck. That means that my doorbell can ring at any time. I'm waiting for a brand new Christmas tree to replace my 20-year-old Christmas tree that is just like kind of getting too old now. Cheers. I'm having FMA beer. So there was one left, small one left, and this is the big one. This is an apple-flavored Belgian-style ale. So that's what we're going to have today. And hope that you enjoy the show. We're going to continue answering some of the questions that we've had from viewers. We're going to talk about different things also of interest. A lot of people have been asking questions that they'd like me to answer on the live show. So we're going to do that also today, and hope you enjoy the show as I'm slowly getting, the install. I still have boxes all around here after all that happened, but slowly things are getting there, and hopefully we're going to be able to get back to normal soon. So it's nice to have everybody here. Hope that everybody is fine, and we're here to talk about shortwave radio. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America. We talk about shortwave radio, long wave, medium wave. I've been going through, I subscribe to the Long Wave Club of America, so I've been looking at their lowdown publication, nice little publication. So this is a printout because I had it in PDF. They have available a electronic version of the magazine, but it's interesting. I was curious because I was curious of what I could receive in the long wave band, and that curiosity was sparked actually because of when I tested my Texan PL990X on long wave and came across the Navtex transmission using just the internal ferrite. I was kind of very surprised that I could get that. So it sparked my curiosity because it made me think that maybe I can get more on long wave than I actually think I can. So we're going to check that out, and the reason for being subscribed there is that they talk about all aspects of the long wave band. So I'm going to probably learn stuff on the long wave band that I didn't even know existed, or have more information about things I already knew existed. For those that are joining in the live show, we are live twice a week. We are here on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, North America. That's 0 hours Universal Time. So for a big part of the world, we are actually Thursday, technically. And Saturday is the 3 p.m. Eastern, 20 hours Universal Time show. And we talk about shortwave radio. There's a beautiful chat room with amazing people. And this is a great place to learn, great place to, for beginners. It's a great place for those that are experts. You can help out, answer questions from some viewers. You can, just have fun with others that all share one very simple thing. We all love radio. And yes, radio is not dead. Radio is that thing that still exists. A lot of people have the impression that, that shortwave and all of that amateur radio that's old school stuff. Today with the internet, we don't need that. Well, that's far from being the case. We do need that. And it is really, really something that is still relevant and important. And some parts of around the world actually, need that for proper news, because they don't have the luxury, if we can say so, of having news that is unbiased and uncontrolled by the government. So shortwave has its place. Amateur radio has a lot of its place still because it's experimental radio. People forget that amateur radio is experimental radio, that there are a lot of innovations still today in the way our smartphones work, cell phone connectivity, that, amateur radio operators actually tested out a lot of the stuff before. And a lot of what we have today, we can actually thank the community. People don't think and don't they don't think that's important. They don't think that, amateur radio has a contribution to our wireless communications. Your Wi-Fi router, why does it work? Why, do you get the internet with invisible radio waves? All of that comes from experimentation that in a big part actually does come from amateur radio tests, amateur radio tweaking. Some are, far advanced in amateur radio. They try all sorts of new protocols, of communications. It's still very relevant. And of course, it's cool if you want to just, rag chew, if you just want to talk with somebody else, and that's it. So it's still something that exists today. There's a lot of people around the world that are actually still, using amateur radio. There are a lot of people around the world listening to shortwave and to radio in general. So you know what? I think this is the place for all of you, where we're just a bunch of great people that have fun with radio. And that's where I kind of reach out to just the average user of, the expert, the beginner, somewhere in the middle, but that just wants to have fun with radio, and no pretentious, comments, or no, belittle anybody. No, everybody's welcome here. And so the chat room is great. And when all of this is over, actually, one of the things that happens is that you might, it's like a drug. You might have withdrawal syndromes. That means that you might suddenly find yourself alone and you're missing out on something. There's, no more excitement. The live show's gone. Well, the Facebook group is for that. The Facebook group, official SWL channel, is where you can join and have fun sharing what you're listening to. I find it so cool every day. Several times a day, I go through the group. I look at what people share, the radios they use, radios they find at, thrift stores for a couple of bucks. That just is amazing. People sharing videos of what they're listening to. People amazed at, the distance of certain signals. I saw one post yesterday. I think it was somebody listening to Spain and was wondering if the signal he was hearing really was from Spain or it was a relay. And somebody, answered, no, it comes from Spain. And he just went like, wow, this is so cool, receiving a signal from the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. Just think about it, how amazing it is. You are tuning in an invisible radio wave that has crossed the ocean from Spain up to North America to reach your radio. And distances are even more than that. I often talk that I listen, right? Like the winter propagation for me is cool because it gives me a few stations I love, like Radio Japan in French. Radio Japan in French, that is coming up actually in 15 minutes. Is really, really cool because it is a station relayed by Madagascar. And Madagascar is like 13,000 kilometers away. It's not only crossing the Atlantic Ocean, it's actually crossing a big part of Africa also. And so it's like jumping over Africa, over the ocean, and actually I'm getting it here. How cool could that be? It's, and you might say, well, look at all the equipment you've got. Obviously, you've got things that we can't afford. And no, you can receive that with just a little portable radio that's not even $100. So, don't think that it is just for experts with, big gun radios and antennas that, need a giant field to be put up. Nope, just portable radio. Little telescopic antenna that the radio has. You'll be surprised that you can get a lot of stuff. So hope that you enjoyed the show today. And like I said, if I start running, it's because the doorbell rang. I'm going to go and pick up my brand new Christmas tree. I'm going to put that up tomorrow. There's supposed to be snow tomorrow. They're saying maybe 4 to 6 inches of snow in Montreal. That means I'm going to put up the tree because there's nothing like a snow day to put up a Christmas tree. And probably I'm going to put one of those, LP records from the old days that I have here from Christmas music. It's going to be kind of cool. So Bobby Burgess, WA5107SWL in Morgan City, Louisiana, USA. Nice to have you here. Joe Tyson, KM4WRQ in North Carolina. Estrella Garcia, nice to have you here. David, KJ4CMY, nice to have you on board. And he's Chasing Parks on the air stations. So that is cool. Tom the Xer, WPE2QED. Nice to have you here from the Hudson Valley, New York. Laura Robertson, 73. Nice to have you here. Juan Amigo, ¿cómo está mi amigo? From Barcelona, Spain. EA3014SWL. Michael W., nice to have you here from Melbourne, Australia. I miss Radio Australia. Every time Melbourne, I hear the city of Melbourne, and I'm like, oh man, Radio Australia. I do miss that station so much. Blind Picker, nice to have you here, Rob, in Connecticut. W0RAB, our blind ham. And by the way, I'm going to check it out here. I believe, before I forget, if I look at all of this here. So we have Elizabeth in Regina, Saskatchewan, that is saying hello. And she says, thank you, Gilles, for all you do. I always enjoy your show. So Elizabeth, also blind, and using a Kinwood R5000 with the speech synthesizers to know the frequency she's tuned to. And she enjoys listening to the show. Welcome aboard, Elizabeth, in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. And by the way, if you're not in the chat room, or for some reason can be in the chat room and you want to say hi, official shortwaveradio@gmail.com. I'm going to put the email now. Official shortwaveradio@gmail.com. So official shortwaveradio@gmail.com. Just drop a note there and say hi. Let us know where you are in the world. Sorry, guys. And we're going to check the email from time to time. It's fun to do that because from time to time, there's a lot of people that are not in the chat room but want to say hi. So just drop us a little email while we're in the live show. Kevin, nice to have you on board from the Jersey Shore, 68 Fahrenheit. Finished bike ride. Cool. That's nice. It's just perfect weather. Around 68 in the 60s. It's just perfect weather for a bike. Eyebrawler, nice to have you here from Northeast Arkansas. We have Rob Fiducia. Nice to have you here from Phoenix, Arizona, Rob. René Charbonnier, PA0057SWL. Nice to have you here from the Netherlands. US Lines, nice to have you on board, or US Lines, something like that, or US Lines. From Brittany, France. And F8XXX, CWQRP. My liver's too old for your eye test beer, but I will have a 25 demi of 5.6 IPA. That's okay. Well, the one that I have here is 5.5. So usually I sometimes have like Fins du Monde or Don de Dieu. That's 9%. This one is 5.5, so it's not as bad. More in your line of beer. So nice to have you on board, Dick. Nick Amendelt from Romania. Nice to have you on board. Eric Leffy. Nice to have you here. HB3XUT. And do stay safe, you also. Shortwave listener. Nice to have you on board from wet and windy northwest of England. We have Jerry DX. Nice to have you on board. Catalan, nice to have you on board from Germany and enjoying black tea. That's perfect. Perfect. Bonjour. Hi, Eric Cottrell. Nice to have you on board from comfortable Boston, Massachusetts. And says a great day for walking. It's actually nice. So today I was kind of a little compressed, so I didn't have a lot of time to do it, but I went to get a beer for the show, and so I spent maybe half an hour outside. It was actually very nice. If I had nothing to do, I think I would have probably taken a nice walk. It was perfect for that. What do we have? We have Randy, Riverside, California. Nice to have you here. CT1ETE. Nice to have you on board. Bonjour et bienvenue PLF Radio. J'espère que ça va bien là-bas en France et que c'est pas trop difficile avec le confinement. Ici, c'est un peu compliqué, mais on y arrive, on y arrive. Nice to have you here from France, my friend. So hello there, Estrella Garcia, Pamela Militia Catty Melody. Nice to have you here. Joe Rutman, nice to have you here from Chicago. James Johnson from Florida, USA. Jeff Williams, nice to have you here from Southwest Cornwall, UK. Dan V, nice to have you on board, or Dan 5 from Ohio. Super Bowl 27025 is open. Let's check that out here just for the fun of it. I'm going to use the Texan PL 990, and we're going to go on 27025 and see if there's anything that we can hear from. So that's this. I always forget which one is what. Nope. Nope. Seems to be very quiet over here. Aerial imaging. Nice to have you on board from Lockport, Illinois. Nice to have you here, Ryan. Matt, nice to have you here. MDK2 from Denver, Colorado. Mark Cancelada, nice to have you here from Birmingham, England. So I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, for all of those that are wondering. And hope that you enjoyed the show today. What else do we have? Let me just check if everything is all right. Okay. What else? Let's see. Old Radio Man. Nice to have you here from Northeast Tennessee. ARRL Sweepstakes HF contest starts today at 21 UT. Oh, yeah. That goes up to tomorrow. I don't know exactly, don't remember the exact time, but it's one of those contests that is quite popular. So check it out. Handbands are going to be full of contesters. So David, KJ4CMY is getting Mixed Radio Pirate in Georgia, 6880 upper sideband. Larry Stevens, nice to have you here from Newark, Ohio. James Johnson. I hate it when it jumps like this. It's impossible to not jump. Jump, jump. Isn't that a song from the Pointer Sisters? Jump. Okay, so James Johnson, nice to have you here. What else do we have? 6880 is S9, says Jerry DX. Pretty cool. It's very powerful and very large too. And if you look at the USB trace, Mixed Radio always has a very wide USB trace. The Vaults, nice to have you here from Latvia. Northern Rambler, nice to have you on board, my friend. We have David has cranberry juice. Drank it straight. No alcohol needed. That's perfect. No alcohol is required, actually. So, you know. So, pretty cool. What else do we have? XN80Xer Keegan. Nice to have you here from Northwest Arkansas. 65 Fahrenheit over there. Pretty cool. Pamela Militia says, during the night I can pick up WWV on 5,000 kilohertz. That's cool. Last night I was tuning around a little bit around midnight, and I was getting a fairly surprising signal of WWV on 2500. That one is usually very weak here all the time, but last night was kind of a little better than usual. Eric Cottrell, long wave season is winter, absolutely. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun to test out the different things that I could try from that publication, The Lowdown from the Long Wave Club of America. Thomas Luciani, nice to have you here. First time posting. Welcome aboard, my friend. Where are you, Thomas? Where are you located? Let us know. We'd like to know where everybody is around the world. I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Rufus Newt from the Laurentian Valley, Ontario, just came inside. Wind chill of -6. Yeah, here the temperature's been dropping today. We've started the day at like lower 40s, but they did say that by the end of the afternoon we should be at 0 Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit. And of course, 4 to 6 inches of snow. That thing, that white stuff, is finally arriving a little more seriously into Montreal tomorrow, apparently. We have, let's check it out here. Eric Liffey says radio will exist forever. Yes, it will. Ricardo da Silva, nice to have you here from Portugal. We have Matt says Mixed Radio International is on 6880 upper sideband. That's what we were checking out at the beginning. Pamela Militia, isn't Zulu the same thing as UTC? Yes, it is. It is referred to as Zulu. On some posts, usually military and utility tend to use Zulu. And UTC, GMT, there are 3 ways of saying it. When I started listening to shortwave in '82, GMT was very popular. And I remember the BBC, it's like, it's at 12 hours GMT. And then, because UTC became kind of the official, we should all say UTC, Universal Time Coordinated. And it slowly took on, and pretty much everybody started using UTC. But the military, some ham radio operators, and a lot of utility stations are still saying Zulu. So when you listen to something, it's like 1200, like Gander Radio. When I listen to the weather report on Gander Radio, Newfoundland, Canada, they always use Zulu. This is the weather at 1300 hours Zulu. And so Zulu, GMT, which is Greenwich Mean Time, and UTC, which is Universal Time Coordinated, are the same. It's Universal Time. Mickey Dalmage, nice to have you here. Michel Delmage, bienvenue. Nice to have you on board. It was nice to have you on the International Radio Report show for tomorrow. So that's going to be pretty cool. So reports out that well-known UKDXer Noel Green has passed away. He did a lot of work with DSWCI and others. Rest in peace. It's sad when we hear, names, and even more, every time somebody in the hobby passes away, and well-known personalities of shortwave and of radio in general pass away. It's kind of sad, I was thinking that, I remember when I was young, my mom said, you're going to start feeling old when your favorite artists of your time start passing away. And I think the same feel is going to be there for the famous names that were around me all my shortwave hobby years start passing away. I think that also is going to make me feel old. Suddenly I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, all my shortwave idols and my my music idols are all dying now. It's, makes you think of your own, you're getting there also at some point someday. Hopefully not too soon. PLF Radio has nothing on 6880. Chuck CP Davis, nice to have you on board. Radio, someone still loves you. Yep. Radio Gaga. I love that song. I always love that song. And Kathleen says, yes, let's have fun with radios. What about VLF? I would like to know more about it. I have limited knowledge of VLF, which is really the very low frequency range. Typically, we have VLF more in the the very low, like below 100 kilohertz, and the very, very bottom of the spectrum. There's a lot. There's quite a few little things happening in there. There's still a lot of. I know that submarines used very low frequencies, like at 10 kilohertz and stuff like that, because they these long waves, these very, very low frequencies, are propagating through water easily. There are stations like we talk about SAQ, the Grimton, Sweden station, reactivating from time to time their old spark gap transmitter on 17 kilohertz. There's a lot of stuff there that is kind of interesting. One of the reasons I also subscribe to the Lowdown, because they do talk about what is down there, and there's actually a one of the columns is called Natural Radio. There are some of you out there that might have built one. Natural radio is a radio that receives, because the Earth's geomagnetic field, the interaction with the sun, and just the Earth itself generates very, very low frequency radio waves that are in the few kilohertz, the bottom of the spectrum. And that come out as whistles and bells and all sorts of whistlers, and people have noted that when there's thunderstorms, there's an increased activity in whistlers and stuff like that. I'd like to try that. I have nothing here that goes below 100 kilohertz, I believe. I used to have the Kenwood R5000 that went down to 30 kilohertz, but let me think. No, I don't think I have anything that goes below 100 kilohertz. I believe my ICOM ICRD 500 is 100 kilohertz is the lowest it goes to. Oh, well, yeah, the SDR maybe. What frequency does the SDR play start? I never checked. Maybe I do have something that goes below. It's it's not every radio that goes down to those very, very low frequencies. KW 1161, nice to have you on board from Tucson, Arizona. Eric says radio makes the dreams come true. Let's hope so. Tom Bibish, nice to have you here, my friend from Ohio. CT2IWW, nice to have you on board from northern Portugal. I have quite a few people from Portugal here. That's cool. Kevin is WS2H. He says, just turned on my MLA30 for the first time. Wow, it is just what I needed in my noisy environment. It's hanging in my attic. Cool. That's what I want to hear. Here it enabled me, the MLA30 enabled me to have at least some reception of shortwave, which was almost impossible. And the sloper in the backyard was having a hard time getting stations with the noise. It was a point where there was something that needed to be done. And especially, I do these live shows. I talk about radio. Nothing like, talking about radio but not getting anything. It kind of gets boring at some point. So, when I got the first one I got was the W6 LVP loop, which is in the same performance, but much more expensive. Actually, both the St. Jean and the Texan PL 990X here are on the W6 LVP right now. And of course, the MLA30 is on the SDR Play RSPDX receiver. I also have a mobile vertical for VHF, UHF on the RSPDX to mostly track satellites. Is the fun that I have with that. But it's fun to hear that somebody gets the MLA30 and just finds it so cool and so amazing for listening and improving reception. And that's the thing here. So really, really cool. Really, really cool. So we have Hector that says hello from official Shortwave Radio Gmail account or email account. And he says, which radio would you recommend for a beginner in shortwave? This is a question that comes back quite regularly. What I say most of the time is, so it depends on your budget. If you have a small budget, say 50-ish US dollars, 60-ish US dollars, you can maybe get a Radiwao. Okay, I don't know if you guys hear the beep. A Radiwao R108, Radiwao RADI wow WOW R108. Pretty surprising little radio for the price, around 40-ish, 50-ish dollars US. Texan PL 310ET, Texan TECSUN PL 310ET. That is not bad at all. You can get that on Amazon actually, so it's easy to get on the internet. It's very difficult to get sorry guys, it's very difficult to get shortwave radios from local stores today. It's almost non-existent actually. If you have more money, you can go up to 100, 150. Then you open your world with a lot more, because you'll get a single sideband capable receiver. Texan PL660 is one of the good radios out there for 120-ish, 120, 130-ish US dollars, and it has single sideband. It's an analog radio, so you don't have any muting when you tune in. That could be a nice radio to start with. Of course, XH Data D808 is an amazing radio. A lot of people find it below $100. It performs really, really amazingly well. So these are radios that you can actually purchase and try out, that are amazing for beginners, I would say. What else do we have? We have Jari Markkanen. Nice to have you here from Finland, my friend. We have Eric Cottrell. Not even Thanksgiving down there. Yeah, it's next week for you guys, eh? Here, our Thanksgiving is in October, so it's all right. What else do we have? What else do we have? New Christmas tree has single sideband. It's a Christmas tree antenna. That'd be nice. Christmas tree antenna. Just put it up and listen to the world. Catalin says, I need a 1000 microfarad capacitor for 6.3 volts, but I have one for 16 volts. I want to modify my USB sound card for VLF. Yeah, the voltage doesn't matter. What matters is the capacitor value. So if you use the 1000 microfarads, it doesn't matter it's 16 or not. Think of the voltage more as the upper limit that it can accept a voltage. So it's going to be okay. It's going to work. It's really the measure, the capacitance of the capacitor that's important. Rakesh Seshan, nice to have you on board. Ask my email, but no reply from your side. Where I should buy a Texan PL310ET or 600 as regards to shortwave only. Well, the 600 has single sideband, 310 does not. 398 MP does not also have single sideband. So if you want to really listen to the maximum amount of stuff, it's better to have a it's better to have like the Texan PL 600, or even better the 660, because the 600 has a little bit of a harsh audio on it. Ingmar Klenhart, nice to have you here from Germany. Everybody saying hello to Elizabeth. Hector Vasquez, nice to have you here. What else do we have? It is radio, absolutely. Like aerial imaging is saying, evolution is in the way that we send, radio signals. It's packet data and all sorts of things like that, and digital signals of all sorts. But the radio stays the same. Radio is radio. Your smartphone is a radio transceiver. It receives radio waves. It transmits radio waves. Your Wi-Fi router is it's a transmitter, a transceiver. It sends and receives radio waves. It's just that it's done in a way that's different. It's packets of data, but it's radio. It is radio. Michael Langer, setting up a Lionel train up in the basement. Oh man, that looks fun. Seems seasonal to me. Nice to have you on board from Illinois. Man, that brings me back to when I was young. I remember getting a train set at Christmas. I was maybe, I don't know, 8 years old or something like that, 8 or 9 years old, and having a lot of fun with that. I always enjoyed. I remember telling everybody, I'm going to drive a train one day. I didn't know, what they were calling them, but I said, I'm going to be a train driver someday. And I told my parents, I told everybody. I think in school when they were asking, what do you want to do in life? And I was like, I want to drive trains. I want to do that. And still today, I'm fascinated by trains. When I go somewhere and there's a railroad, if there's a train coming, I will actually go and watch that train pass by, and I'm just fascinated by these big beasts, and it's always really amazing. So even today, I still love. There's a train store. Well, it's a hobby shop, but they only have almost only trains, and it isn't that far from here. It's if I take a walk, it's maybe half an hour walk. Every year, this year they didn't do it, and I think it's pretty much in this period of time every year too. I think it's in October. Every year they do a, they ask, they kind of open, they have this huge train set in the basement of the store. And they don't open that to the public in general. They keep that to the real fans of trains that probably pay some kind of membership and all, and they maintain that real big and huge train setup. Once a year, they open the doors to the public, and they ask the public to go down. And it's, of course, a great PR stunt because it makes them sell, train sets. But that place is so amazing, and it's just crazy to see these guys like with all the details, and everything is perfect. It's like if they have a railroad that is the same as a certain region, every single detail, even the trees and everything is exactly as it is if you would go there. And once a year they actually open for the public, and I haven't been in maybe a couple of years now, but usually that was kind of one of my my annual gatherings. One of the annual gatherings I would always go to was that, to go see the trains and everything. And you can't help it. Every time you go there, you look at that, and then you look at the train sets, and you're like, wow, I'd like to buy a train set. A little kid in me is still there. He wants to play with trains. But man, this is crazy. And it's a lot of fun. So have fun, Michael. Have fun. Chuck King, and nice to have you here. Returning to shortwave after 15 years. I have a Texan PL 680 and a 30-foot long wire on the balcony. Cool. Cool. Kevin has a Pirate on 3605 U upper sideband. Oh, really? In the middle of the amateur radio band. That's weird. Don Warner, nice to have you here from Ohio. The Rock 80, nice to have you here, my friend. I am 27 minutes behind in the chat, by the way, guys. Chuck says, what frustrates me, at certain time, I'm on one frequency listening to English, but at that particular time UTC, there can be 5 or more stations on the same frequency. Okay. That could happen. Capital City Unprofessionals. Nice to have you here, Joe. Jeff, KC7JDB in Lansing, Michigan. And have you got your amateur radio call sign yet? Yeah, no, not yet. I know. You guys want me to do that. I will try to get that as soon as I can. I have a absolute crazy life right now, so it's kind of difficult to, from the live shows, the videos I do, there's not a lot of time left for the rest of the week to do stuff. And when that time arrives, I just want to relax and do nothing, take it easy. Nino Savat says, nice to have you here from Ottawa, and says 6880 Mixed Radio International Pirate booming in Ottawa. Cool. But Chuck, when you listen to shortwave and you hear stations on the frequency, you can go to a place like eibispace.de. I just posted the web link, and check out the schedules. And what you do is you look at the UTC time that you are, frequency you're tuned to, and if you have one station in English, and you hear other stations, you can actually look at the schedules there. There's one thing that is a little messed up in the schedules lately, and it seems to be even worse right now, is WRMI and the frequency lists. The schedules are wrong. There's rarely the correct program. So the other day I was looking at some of the WRMI listings in the EIBI space, and I was like, oh, Radio Prague in English coming up on, I don't know, 5850 or something, or 5800. And I punched in and it was like, no, this is Spanish. That's not Prague. Okay. And there's quite a few mix-up like that. So maybe WRMI's website is better to go to. Maybe their schedule is actually more accurate to check out. But for general, for general listening of stations, the list that I just gave you, EIBI space, is pretty good. Let me just check here. So this is that. Not coming in very good today on 98.55 for Radio Japan. So yep, you could just hear that you could hear that the Pirate is still there, 6860. I got a really good, really good signal on the SDR up here. Sidvik from Gander, Newfoundland, Canada. Nice to have you on board. Says bands are very good today. Zach Liang, nice to have you on board, my friend, Zach. No problem. No problem, James Johnson. Yeet Sahim, nice to have you here, my friend. Or Yeet. I remember you said it's Yeet. Yeet Sahim, nice to have you here. Thomas Luciani says, thanks, excellent show. Been listening to shortwave since 1958. That's amazing. These are, yeah, but they're fairly new. I purchased them with the console here, and they're. I think I've been using them for about 4 or 5 months now. No, not even 3 months, maybe. Because I'm using the console, I need the headphones now to hear what's happening. James Johnson says radio's been good today on 11 meters. Cool. Stephen Hayes, nice to have you here from London, England. G0STE. Kimberly, K6YYL, nice to have you on board from California. Hey, by the way, guys, I'm gonna, let's not do it just now, but I'm gonna call all amateur radio operators that are capable of transmitting on the HF bands today. And we're going to try to set up something to see if we can hear. So maybe someone or a couple of you can call CQ or try to contact each other. And we'll try different bands like 20 meters and 40 meters and so on. So if you guys want to check it out, I'm just going to try to go quickly in the chat room, and it could be a lot of fun to set this up. So calling all ham radio operators out there. Yes, they are Audio-Technica headphones, by the way. Absolutely. And so I think this could be a lot of fun. PLF Radio. Let me just find where I was, because, of course, I lost it again. Okay, PLF Radio. Yeah, same here. The confinement is a little less, well, it is, restaurants and bars are closed, gyms, but it's not as a heavy confinement, because the first confinement, you could wait like, an hour just to get to a grocery store. Now they just let you in as long as, but there's a security guard that makes sure that you clean your hands, and wear a mask. But it's still kind of tough, and here the bars and restaurants will be closed. Right now, they'll be closed until January 11th, which is making a lot of owners of restaurants totally nuts. Chuck CP Davis says, love those nights in Montreal. Gino Vanelli. Oh, man. Gino Vanelli. Remember that. What else do we have? Kimberly calling CQ on 28435. Wow. Here, nothing on, I checked the Super Bowl channel and nothing, so kind of interesting. Rufus Newt, 6880 upper sideband strong on the XH Data D808 on telescopic inside. Cool. Keegan, ham operators and 14200s on USB earlier this afternoon on the Ethon Grand Edition satellite radio. Cool. Zach says Volt Pirate on 6935. That's interesting. That's so I'm on. Let's try 6935. Anything on 6935? Nope. There's something on 6985. Very weak. An AM signal. But apart from that, it's Mixed Radio International on 6880. PLF Radio, 2 questions. How much do you like your Sangean ATS 909X? Will you do videos with your tabletop icon? It reminds me of old days. So, question 1, the Sangean ATS 909X is a beautiful radio. I like it. There's a debate on that. A lot of people say it's not deaf. It's a little deaf. It's like the original. But that said, it's not. It receives well with an outdoor antenna, and so it is a pretty nice radio to own. The 909X is, I'll have to say, and I say it very often, I think, the most beautiful portable that I own. It is absolutely superb. I love the 909X. I use it surprisingly a lot for shortwave. The negative side of it is that it's slightly off frequency. The one I have, at least, is slightly off frequency. Okay. I would say almost a kilohertz off. Actually, if you look at some of the videos this week that I posted, I compared with the Texan PL990X, and you could see that while the 990X is on frequency, on dot, it's slightly off. It's like alerts off, roughly, on the 909X. And a lot of people, actually, I've seen a lot of people comment on that, saying that the frequency precision of the 909X is off, which is not the case of the original 909, which was on frequency pretty much. One, maybe it's not a big thing, but the fact that the 909X, the St. Gian, tunes in 40 hertz steps in single sideband means that half of the time you're never on dot with the audio. You are often a little off, which means, there's always a kind of a little higher pitch to the voice on single sideband, for example. It's a minor thing because, it's maybe not. Well, it's a minor thing for voice. It's a big thing for music, like a pirate, like mixed radio right now. If you try to tune it and it's off, it stays off a little bit, then the music sounds weird. You can't really tune the music. But on the voice, you just have to do the fact that the voice doesn't sound natural, but it's there. And so it's a minor thing, but it could be a big enough thing. Audio quality is okay. It's not the best, especially when you start comparing it to the Texan PL990X. You see that it's lacking in really frequency response, but it's nice, and it's got a lot of bells and whistles. It's got audio out. It can actually control a tape recorder, good old tape recorder with the line out jack, and it's a nice radio. It's very beautiful. It's the display is nice. RDS functionality on FM works great. But it would not be my first choice of a radio. If I had no radio now, and you ask me what would you buy, if I'm going to spend as much money as it costs to get a St. Gian 909X, I'm going to purchase a Texan PL990X again, because I'll have a more precise and easier to tune single sideband receiver. Better audio quality also at the same time. So if I had the choice, you tell me, what are you going to buy, a St. Gian 909 or a Texan PL990X? Texan all the way. That would be my first choice. I would not even think about it. I would just want to have another Texan 990X. When you compare it to that, because that radio is as expensive, if not more, on many, many websites. So if I have to pay that price, I'll go back with the Texan. As for the ICOM, yes, you know what? So there's a mess here, which is the computer. So this is the computer running the SDR right now. So what's happening is very complex issue happened here, when things don't work exactly like you want. So this old Toshiba has a HDMI port. First thing you do is, hey, I'm going to plug the HDMI to the TV, this 50-inch. never was able to get a picture on that TV. It detects it, but it seems that it just can't give it whatever the TV wants. And it's not just a TV. The old Sony, the other TV that I had there, the Sony, it did the same thing. It would not work with HDMI. But the problem is, on the old Sony, I have a VGA port. So I just plugged the VGA cable. It was okay. But this modern TV does not have VGA in it, and almost no TVs come with VGA ports today. So I had no choice to use HDMI. So I ended up buying an HDMI to VGA adapter on eBay to be able to plug it with the TV. Now, when I use the adapter, works perfectly. It just doesn't work when I plug it directly. So all of that, and plus the fact that I'm trying to figure out how to set up stuff here, means that right now all of that is on the desk. But this is going to go away. And in the back there, I've got a lot of space. So I thought that if I'm to use this space as a radio place, I will have one next to each other. In the back here, the ICOM ICR8500 and the Yaesu FT450. They're both going to be there. And one of the biggest problems I had right now is I had to share antennas, and I had to, unplug a wire here to plug it there. And it was getting complicated. I don't want to deal with having to play with the cables. So when I'm going to install that here, all of that is going to be installed in a way that all the radios are always going to be functional on one of the antennas if I need to, so that they are going to be working perfectly. So the ICOM videos and some Yaesu FT450 videos are going to show up. That is for sure. And actually, it could be even fun to compare the ICOM and the Yaesu FT450 together in some reception demonstration. And the Yaesu FT450, someday when I get my ham license, might actually be something that I could use. And it's going to be a lot of fun to try that out. That's for sure. And I'll have a nice big setup here. Sorry, I'm just looking at the email. So I have a big setup here of radio, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's near the window. The other desk, because some people have been asking me, but that nice corner desk, what are you going to do? That is going to become, I think, my retro gaming space. I'll set up and make sure that everything works fine with the old Sony TV for the Commodore 128, the Atari 1040 ST, the Amiga 500. All of that will be set up in a way that it's going to work. It's going to be ready. If I want to play a game, if I want to do something, I'll just pop in a disc or whatever I want to do and play along whatever game or do whatever I want. So, what else do we have? Angelo Di Michel, nice to have you on board from Italia. Nice to have you from on board from Italy, my friend Angelo. Chuck CP Davis, Shortwave Ham Radio folks, the best people on the internet. From Twin Cities, Minneapolis. What else do we have? Yep, Zulu and UTC is the same. What else do we have? What else do we have? Ricardo Silva. It looks like the D808 rules. 3 Portuguese guys here in chat, and we all got it. It's an amazing radio. XH Data D808 is an amazing radio. I mean, pretty cool for the price. It was very interesting. One of the things that I did this week was test out the Texan PL 330 against the XH data. And it was very interesting. The XH data on 6 megahertz overloaded with one of the US stations, and the Texan PL 330 does not. That was kind of interesting observation there. So what else do we have? Nobby 16, nice to have you on board from St. Lucia. Cool. Caribbean. Patrick Fitzpatrick, nice to have you on board from Ireland. And what else do we have? What else do we have? Neeson, nice to have you on board from the UK. Zach says that the extra from New Zealand also passed away 3 days ago. Yeah, crazy. Russ Gladden, nice to have you here from Ottawa. David has BBC coming in on 12095. Jared EX has a pirate on 6925. Martin M7 MNP, nice to have you on board, Martin. Capital City Unprofessional is going to hang out on 28450 if anybody wants to try to call. Cool. MDK2 says the U.S. Navy has some stations at 24 kilohertz for submarines. There's a station in Washington where the wires for the antenna crisscross this valley. It's enormous. Yeah, it must be to be on such low frequencies. So, okay, I go down to 10 kilohertz. Okay, cool. I suddenly kind of, okay. Gonna be interesting. I'm gonna check out what's there tonight, if I can actually get something anyways. Or even check if I could see some peep or some type of signal from 60 kilohertz. I've got my weather station here, which is capable of synchronizing its clock with WWVB 60 kilohertz. It was able to do it when I was on the desk over there, but it's unable to do it since it's been here. So I've been thinking of, like, taking it and putting it somewhere else in the house overnight and hope that it actually finds the spot where it can synchronize, and then bring it back and plug it back in here. Rocky AD, hello there, my friend. Nice to have you here. It's been a while. Michael Nanger, please tell us of any special Turkey broadcasts coming up. If you're talking about special broadcast from the for Thanksgiving, there's going to be Thanksgiving is going to be a big pirate weekend. Probably that's one first thing that you should all check out. Also, there's going to be WBCQ that's going to have some special Thanksgiving broadcast coming up this week. What else do we have here? As the airplay goes to 1 kilohertz. Yeah, I think it can tune all the way down to 1, if I'm not mistaken. It's just that it's not rated to go down there. It's like they're not promising you any performance below a certain level. Some radios, like the Kenwood R5000 that I had, it went down to 30 kilohertz, but in the specs, in the manual, they would say goes down to 100 kilohertz. So they were kind of saying, it's a way of saying, let's not tell them we go down to 30, because we can't say that performance is going to be there at that level, Camel, nice to have you here. 7X2GK from Algeria. Nice to have you here. Bonjour, bienvenue de l'Algérie. Very nice to have you here. Pretty cool. I've I like it when I go to handbands and I hear some Algeria, Morocco, and all of these stations from the northwest coast of Africa. It's always cool. Catalan RSP 1A goes down to 1 kilohertz. So yeah, maybe the DX goes down to 1 kilohertz too. I would guess. Roger Clark, nice to have you here. Vaults, do you think number stations count is raising, falling, staying the same over the last few years? Overall, feels there are 0 active Western stations left. I would say that they are stable. There's doesn't seem to be any slowdown in number of stations from because I monitor them quite a lot. I often look at the publications from the numbers and oddities group. From what I see, they seem to be pretty much stable. They're not going down. The ones that are there are still there and staying there. The ones that are and operate and there's no, we can't say there's any new ones. So maybe because of the fact that they would need to maybe find a transmitter or something, although I would guess that's not that big of a deal. But there's definitely, I can't say, and I haven't seen anybody report new ones. But that said, there's one thing that if you go to the numbers and oddities page, one of the things I've noticed a lot is that, so, like Preom website has the schedules, and Preom will give you a fairly accurate schedule of everything's out there in what number stations are going to broadcast. So, for example, if I look at Preom right now, just out of curiosity, Preom right now is saying that, like, in an hour, in the next hour, there's going to be M12 on 6859 CW. That's from that's out of Moscow, Russia, and HM0 on the Cuban one, 17480. The Cuban one is interesting because a lot of people have been mentioning, well, they're kind of repeating the same thing over and over again for the last years, almost as if nobody knows that it's transmitting and that it's now maybe not used. I don't know. I don't know if it's used or not, or maybe it's used, but it's just like, let's transmit the same thing over and over. But if something comes up one day, we'll transmit a different message, keep it alive. It's also interesting to note that the Cuban number station has better audio than Radio Havana Cuba. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Radio Havana Cuba's audio is always crappy, but it's interesting to note that the number station audio is pretty much always pretty good. Okay. There's a priority list. Let's keep the audio of the number station good so that, Radio Havana Cuba doesn't matter. But the numbers and oddities page does say that one of the things that we're missing out on a lot, and there's a lot of reports in the bulletin, there's a lot of one-time transmissions. And unless somebody somewhere stumbles across it, we don't know it happened. And what they are saying is apparently the regular station schedules that we know about are stable, but there's an increase in one-time transmissions on odd frequencies. And those, most of us never see them because they happen at a certain time, a certain frequency. They last a few minutes and they're gone. And what they say is the more people tune around, the more they seem to notice that that is on the increase. That has more activity. One-time stations. So I guess there's some way that they probably contact and say, well, listen to 10265, at 21 UT. There's going to be a one-time message and that's it. And people monitor these frequencies and say that they never come back or are never reused. So that adds to the mystery of number stations because not only are they mysterious, Not only do we have no idea what they're saying, but now add to the mystery random frequency that lasts a couple of minutes and never used again. You get a almost impossible, you have to notice that it's there, and you have to be listening if it's there by accident. That's what some are doing in that group. There's like really crazy dedicated people in that group, and some seem to monitor the bands all the time. And in that group, what they notice is that those that tune around a lot, they come across a lot of those random broadcasts by accident, to never ever hear them again. And they broadcast, like in the number stations, they broadcast numbers. They've noticed that there's also an increase of random digital kind of digital modes being sent out, random, one time only also. And they've noticed that there's quite a few that are not just number stations, but are sending out phonetic alphabet letters instead of numbers. So it's kind of what we know and what we hear regularly seems to be pretty stable, but there's an increase of one-time use of a frequency with a message, and that's it. That's kind of interesting, and adds to the mystery of shortwave. Why not kind of convert yourself into into that world of mystery and just tune around. I do that a lot here. My main interest, lately, what I've been doing in the last few days, in the last few weeks, actually, since I got the Texan PL990X, I've been tuning the 990X a lot more on different frequencies, but I've been actually putting the SDR here on like 10 megahertz scale and monitoring just the waterfall, not necessarily listening to anything, monitoring the waterfall for anything that pops up, and tuning the Texan PL990X, for example, with for the AM bands and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. Glenn Zeckman says SDR can go to 0 kilohertz. Yeah, I think it's the performance that maybe they don't want to, they're not promising. René Charbonnier says there's also radio friends from Mongolia here. Are there? I've never seen anybody from Mongolia, I believe, here. I don't think so. Hey, going to be able to open that beer. So it is apple flavored Belgian style ale. Let's open it without breaking anything. And here we go. So for some of you that have never seen that, it's a beer with a cork like a champagne bottle. And here we go. I guess you guys heard that. Here we go. Let's pour. So that'll be the main beer for the show today. Just go a little slower because I'm making a really big color here. What else do we have? 73 HB3 XUT. Thomas Luciani, my first receiver was a Philco Cathedral. Someone was throwing it out. I had no idea what it was all about. Started on Lifelong Hobby, located Long Island, New York, outside New York City. There's so many of these. Imagine all the radios that were still working but been thrown away and are somewhere in a dumpster. It's sad when you think about it, but people are often throwing away stuff that works great, Rufus, SM58 sounds great, Joe. Thank you very much. What else do we have? So they go down to 1 kilohertz. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to check that out tonight. See if I can get anything there. I don't have a proper antenna though, because antennas. Somebody asked about antennas. Antennas for very, 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 very low frequencies are crazy long. You know, you have to follow the rule of the wavelength. So the lower the frequency goes, the bigger the antenna. And so when you get down to a couple of kilohertz, I mean, you need a huge antenna to work there. You know, it's one of the reasons of the demise of some of the AM medium wave stations, even the long wave stations in like in Europe, Middle East. One of the biggest problems is two things. First of all, they need a huge amount of power, but also, what's mostly the problem is they use huge land. They need so much space. And, you know, today land is worth quite a lot of money. So at some point, you know, the station is like, yeah, we could sell this for many millions. You know, this is huge. And they get to a point where, you know, what do? We have this huge land to take care of with antennas, the antenna towers. And so, you know, it's a crazy thing. But the lower in frequency you go, the bigger the antenna in general. Yeah, like Rufus Newt said, you can when you use capacitors, or if you need a replacement capacitor, remember that you can, you know, if you need a 12 volt 1000 microfarad capacitor, you need to find a 1000 microfarad, so that value needs to be the same. But the voltage, if you need 12 volts, for example, you can use one that says 35 volts if it fits in, because sometimes they're bigger. And if it fits in, 35 volts will do the job. But do not go below the voltage that is rated, because that will blow it up. I mean, that will blow it up. Pamela Militia, I have a question about the Spanish station, like Radio Marti and all of that, and Voice of America, and the noise that there's on the transmitter is Cuban jamming. It's Cuban jamming. What else do we have? Mark Cancelera says, I remember someone suggesting an antenna that was supposed to be better than the MLA30, similarly priced. No, I did not buy one because it's kind of complicated. And the seller that I contacted said that he does not want to send it to me because there's a battery and it will not work in the post. You know, it's again that darn battery shipping thing, because now the batteries, lithium ion batteries, are in hazardous mode, you know. And so what happened is one guy said, yeah, I'm going to ship it to you, but it's going to cost you like, you know, super fast shipping. And it was like the antenna was like $40, $50, and the shipping would have cost $50. It's like, well, that's crazy. I'm not going to pay the equivalent of, you know, as high a shipping as in the antenna. Yeah, I would have had it in like 2 days, but I mean, it's crazy, you know, just because the battery. And I told everybody, I said, why don't you just remove the battery and send me one without the battery? I don't care. I don't want to have the battery. You know, I don't mind. Keep it. It's I'll use. I have 18650 batteries here, and I got plenty of them, so I'll use that. But they don't want to do it, so it's kind of complicated right now. So I'm going to see what I'm going to do. You know, I am wary about that. So I'm going to take a sip of my new beer. Cheers, everybody. I'm a little wary about that because I have the K180 WLA, and here, because of the strong FM overload, it doesn't work. You know, it's just overload of FM breakthrough everywhere. I suspect the AMLA 150 probably will be the same performance, breakthrough of FM everywhere. But I will continue checking out. And if I can find a place where I can actually get one, I will. And by the way, I'm really far in the chat. I'm going to try to get a little faster, guys. Okay, WZ90. Nice to have you on board. Ham radio stuff from Wisconsin. Levi Nathan from Israel. Nice to have you here. Is CB radio popular in Montreal? Says Eric. Not. It's very quiet. There's most of the traffic I hear on CB is mobile, people in their cars or trucks. And there's a little gang that hangs on channel 16 every night that do talk about, they're very technical. It's very interesting to when I stumble across them, it's very, very nice. The funniest thing about CB radio in Montreal, and that's every year, is what I do. So when we get a lot of snow, of course, there's a snow removal crews here that remove the snow from the streets. That's the city of Montreal. They have their own frequencies on a VHF, UHF range, but they use private contractors that have their own trucks to pick up the snow and dump the snow in certain areas of Montreal or in the St. Lawrence River. These private contractors have CB radios in their trucks. And it's funny because when there's snow removal, there's tons of activity. And I love to listen to that because it makes me follow. Like, for example, when they say that they're going to pass on the street here to remove the snow, I tune in and I can follow where they are, what street they are, and how close they are to getting the removals of the snow here. That's kind of fun. But otherwise, it's extremely quiet. It's far from being what it was when I started listening in the 80s and the early 80s. And even before that, because my first walkie-talkies, I mean, man, I was stuck on channel 14 with the one channel ones. It was almost impossible to talk because there's like, not only was there a lot of CBers, there's tons of skip because of the high solar activity too. Power station 6930 upper sideband. Let's check it out. I'm very far back, but there is maybe something here to check out. So 6930. Am I on 6930? Yep. I am on 6930. Oops, that's the wrong radio. I'm not getting anything. Seems to be very quiet right now. Very quiet right now. What else do we have? What else do we have? I'm going to try to go a little faster. Can you explain how to use the EIBI schedules? We're going to try. I'm going to go down the chat room and we're going to try to explain them a little bit, okay? Because I know that it's very cryptic, and for somebody that has no idea what all of the numbers and what all that means, it's a little tough. There's a lot of abbreviations. So I'm going to try to catch up with the chat here because I'm far behind, and we're going to actually try to talk about that. I think it's going to help a lot of people. Yee buddy, can you hear UVB 76 from there? Yes, I usually do regularly. We can try it out now. The sun has set here, so let's see if we hear anything. Doesn't seem to be anything right now. By the way, for those that wonder what this is, the lines that are crossing there that sound like this, if you hear that, that's CODAR. CODAR is a type of radar to actually look at they can sense the direction, speed, and height of the ocean waves. And there's a lot of CODAR stations across the eastern seaboard. So what this is CODAR. So this is fun with the console. It's easy to just put the audio of everything. Charles Williams, nice to have you here from San Diego. WZ90, cool. Yeah, but they are not. None of them are accurate. It's kind of because the problem with the HFCC or stuff like that is that they will give you transmitter times. So they tell you that, so a lot of the frequency, WRMI frequencies are simply written down as WRMI. But in that, 4 or 6 hour block of using that frequency, you divide that into Radio Prague, Radio Slovakia, blah, 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 blah. And that's what's missing. Because we know it's transmitting, but that's what's missing. What else do we have? What else do we have? So let's be going down. Let's be going down. I'm going to try to get a little faster, like I said. Okay, we have. Yep, the just started 30 minutes ago, the sweepstake contest. ARRL sweepstakes. The only way I've been able to lower the RF noise from the TV is to unplug it. That's pretty much that. Is it true that RF noise affects the receiver only? What about if the transmitter is active in a noisy medium? Well, no, it's just receiver, because the interference is what we receive locally. When you transmit, you're transmitting to another area. So they're affected by their own noise, but it doesn't affect the transmitter or the transmitting of a signal. What else do we have? You know what, Dr. Sisop? I did tune the hams that I'm used to listening, and I tried with different radios. And PL990X receives as well on the CB band here as any other radio I own. The signals were exactly the same strength. So I don't know if it's because yours is defective or what, but I have absolutely no problem with 11 meters. CB was I listened to the guys on channel 16 the other day, and I was thinking of you because you had told me about that. So I decided to check it out. I said, it's time to check the Texan PL990X to see. And I had no problem. It actually worked great. What else do we have? Thomas Gianni, I feel like I've known Jill all my life. Very friendly chap. Well, we're here for that. What else do we have? We have GMRS for CB, for replacing CB. I think that's pretty much what's happening today. Is GMRS and FRS radios are more popular, although even they have dropped. They kind of were popular for a while and they dropped again, but there's still quite a lot of activity there, that's for sure. So what else do we have? Let me go down as fast as I can. TVDXer, bonjour, bienvenue. I'm 34 minutes behind in the chat, guys. I'm trying to get as fast as possible without missing anything. Robert Osborne, nice to have you here from Niagara Falls, and I'm happy to be hosting this program. Eric Cottrell, I wonder if the problem with the HDMI is the display resolution. I think it is. I think what's happening is the TV isn't capable of displaying the resolution I need. But, it does the same on a Sony. And since it's an old laptop, there's no new drivers to change anything. It was always very difficult to get some form of image using that laptop with HDMI all the time, HDMI. And you have to use because it has a Radeon, graphics adapter. And you have to use the AMD Radeon software to enable. That I hate so much is, look, I'm fine with the fact that you have an onboard graphics GPU. Can you just let Windows deal with it? Stop putting the crappy software from your own company that overrides Windows settings. Let Windows deal with it. Windows does it fine to split screens. You don't need extra software to do so. The problem is they do that all the time. And if you don't have the software installed, it doesn't work. And if you have the software installed, it's super complicated to just have it working. And that is my rant of the day for software. Okay? PC manufacturers and manufacturers of hardware, stop putting crap software that overrides everything in Windows. Let Windows do it. It does it fine. Page Master, nice to have you here. KC5VOY, WA5136SWL in Moore, Oklahoma. Meow to Mr. Paul. And just made contact with NE6PM, USS, Iowa. Cool. Red Cook 102, nice to have you on board. Long-time subscriber, first time live. With quick question, what's the difference between the 990 and the 990X? There is none. If you have the official release, there's none except one little thing. It's that the 990X is for export. So you might have the wrong power adapter if you buy the 990. It might not be the one for your power outlet where you live. So, but they're the same radio. It's exactly the same thing under the hood. It's the accessories that change. Pet F. Barrett, nice to have you on board. Hope you're okay. Love your videos. Still loving my XH Data D808. It's an amazing radio. Absolutely. Mansfield, UK. Nice to have you here. KW1161 says, missing is Amiga 500. Soulcalf, nice to have you here from San Diego. Nice to have you here. Dr. Sissa, my grounding Ethan edition radio display is going out. Only downfall to it, the LCD goes bad. Huh. Okay. That's sad. What else do we have? Let's go down. Simon Templar, nice to have you here from Portland, Oregon. Ryan Jacob, nice to have you on board. Upper and bands are pretty busy today. Tony Perron, nice to have you here from Tennessee. Jet Crafter, nice to have you here from Southern Maine. And what else do we have? Eric Cottrell, U.S. Navy, Cutler, Maine, is on 24 kilohertz. I need to check that out if I hear something. Philip Jones, nice to have you on board. And yes, we are trying to keep ourselves safe. What else do we have? So now I am 30 minutes behind. Let's try to catch up. Terry Cook, KF7BQ in Missoula, Montana. Nice to have you here. SV O'Rourke, nice to have you on board. And still on morning coffee from Hawaii. Yeah, it's kind of early there. I'm on the late afternoon beer. It's kind of a weird mix. It's like I'm having beer, you're having coffee. Cheers. What else do we have? Dr. Sisup, Shell got run over by WWV while scanning for CHU. You can say there's so No such thing as a Texan. Joe supports the Chinese. I support what is a decent radio and good radio. So wherever it comes from, I will just support what works great. I'm not pro Chinese or pro nothing. If it would be made in, Uganda, I would probably say, hey, that new Ugandan shortwave radio is amazing. It's just a question of where it comes from, and everything, pretty much made in China today, anyways. What else do we have? Eric Leffy, that is what I think the one-time transmissions makes it harder to intercept. Because, unless you've got the code book, it's already probably impossible or very difficult to know what's happening. But even imagine, add to the complexity that you actually have random frequency for the transmission. It makes it almost impossible to see or intercept. It's not impossible. There are probably some wideband radio receivers that could check the whole spectrum, but it makes it more difficult. Tony Perrone, I wonder how many of the number stations are decoys to divert unwanted listeners. They're probably, come on, it's a mysterious world out there. I'm sure there's a lot of fake messages. Actually, Priam has noted that there are fake messages sent out from time to time on the frequencies. So, there's a lot of things to try to fool people around, that's for sure. There's a lot of things. JRDX, Christmas only 4 weeks away. Yep, pretty much. And that's why I'm waiting for my Christmas tree. So, what else do we have? Let me check that out. Andrew Colt, nice to have you here. Have you tried Linderman's Lambic beer? No, never. I need to check that out. Well, that's loud beer. Well, no, I will not drink from the bottle because it doesn't give a cool image on YouTube for whoever will stumble across my show, and there's a lot of people that could stumble here. Some are sensitive about these issues too. I get my regular share of messages and emails from people saying, you shouldn't drink alcohol when you do live shows, because it's like, yeah. Tom Dennison, is it possible to make or buy a separate BFO that would enable a radio without SSB to tune single sideband? Yeah, there are some external BFOs that do exist, and there's even circuits on the internet where you can build your own BFO. But yes, there are some. I've never looked at what's available in the market right now, but there are external BFOs that do exist. Eric Leffy says, I wanted to know what antenna you're using at the moment for 6 megahertz. It's the ML830 amplified magnetic loop antenna. That's in my front outdoor, in my front balcony. So I would guess if I go to let's put it to 7,000, you guys will see all the activity of the band. Look at that. That's 40-meter band activity. Tons of signals on the 40-meter band right now. Everywhere because of the contest. What else do we have? Chas Tank says, found an AM/FM emergency services radio in the trash. Worked. Only thing wrong was the telescopic antenna tip broken. I remember I remember looking in the trash and finding a little 2-band shortwave radio. I don't remember the brand, and I don't have it. There are a couple of radios that I don't have anymore, and I think it just stopped working. It was a nice little portable, and it was very limited on shortwave. It had 2 bands. One was from something like, let me just remember. It went up to 12 megahertz. I think it was like something like one band was from 3 to 8, 3 to 7 megahertz, and the other one, it was an awkward separating of the band. And it was limited. It didn't go higher than 12 megahertz, which also was kind of surprising. I was like, why doesn't it go higher than 12 megahertz? And it did not seem to receive very well, but it worked. I remember I took it off of the trash because I saw it kind of on top, and I was like, well, maybe it doesn't work, but of course. What do you think us guys do if we see a radio in the trash? We're going to pick it up. I mean, we're going to clean it up, and we're going to just like make sure everything's all right. But if we see a radio in the trash, we will go in the trash to get the radio. And I put batteries in and turn it on, and it worked. I remember listening to AM, medium wave worked fine. FM worked fine. Shortwave was limited to 12 megahertz, so it was mostly nighttime listening more than anything else. But I remember getting a little bit of stations, but it wasn't, and the antenna was broken. There was like you could see on the top left, there was that hole where the telescopic pops up from. So it had just a hole. It didn't have the antenna. So I'm pretty sure they threw it out because the antenna was broken. But of course, what I did is I opened the radio, and because it was all missing. There was no metal, no nothing. So I remember I opened the radio. I put a piece of wire directly where the telescopic was connected, and I let the piece of wire hang out. So there was like this rigid piece of copper wire that was kind of like in an arc. It was bent because it couldn't hold its own weight. It was not thick enough. But at least the antenna was there, so I would clip, an alligator clip or something, and put a longer wire to it. The idea was to simply have an easy access to the antenna inside. But I mean, you look at that and you're like, well, a lot of people are throwing out radios or throwing out equipment. I've seen people throw out, as a tech guy, I've seen people throw out computers that work fine. That could, I remember one day, client gets a new computer, says, well, I'm going to throw that in garbage. Well, I'm going to recycle it. Just give me it. And I remember one day she came here to have the computer fixed for some reason. I don't know why. She looks on my desk and she says, hey, that computer there running, it looks like the one I had before. And I said, it is the one you had before. And she says, and you're using it? I said, yeah, it's fine for a lot of other things. And I think I had Linux on it rather than Windows. I said, I use it for different things and it works great. I just leave it like that. And she was like, oh, okay. But it's like, because I always tell people when they throw away like computers, it was like, you sure that thing works? You have a friend, you have family members that don't have a computer? That thing gonna work. It's gonna be perfect for somebody that, starting up. And people just don't see anything. Jerry DX 6985 is faint. Toolman 23, 2236.4. 6925, a precisement sounds like a soundtrack from the 80s movie Heavy Metal. Yeah, the shipping was crazy for the antenna. What else do we have? What are you talking about? Larry bragged. The chat works perfectly. What else do we have? Harold Imaging says, well, my plans of having my shortwave station going at work didn't think about the fact that this is a metal building. Oops. Yeah. And work is also a problem because often if you want to bring a shortwave radio into work, it's a lot more noise. Catalan, can the AN 200 be modified for lower bands? It's really not designed to be modified much. It'd be nice to have a long wave band. Yeah. Eric Cottrell bought a Sky RC MC3000 to recharge at 186050 batteries. Yeah, I also have a charger. I have an external charger for the 18650 here too. And I've got I think I got 24 18650s. They're the cheap brands, but they do the job and they work. But they're cheap. I mean, when you look at the 18650 and the Thexan PL990X, that one is very high quality and lasts a long time. Jim, nice to have you here from Rhode Island. David O'Rourke likes the setup. Cool. Pirate on 6930 upper sideband. Larry Bragg, nice to have you here from California. And for CSG, Chris is hearing High of the Tiger on 6930. Hey, there's tons of pirates. There's tons of pirates. Pirate galore. Let's try to go down as fast as possible to catch up, guys. What else do we have? What else do we have? Rufus Newt says, I'm moving my shack and using the XH data on the whip. I'm impressed with the reception with no external antenna. Well, it's very sensitive radio. Absolutely. It's very sensitive radio. Oui, TVDXer. Le record, c'est 200. That's the record, guys. When we had the highest peak, it was during the show of the Texan PL990X unboxing. What was that peak? 270-ish? Something like that. Vianney Arsenault, bonjour et bienvenue de la Gaspésie, the eastern part of Quebec. Don't know if you're going to get that snow. We're going to get some snow here in Montreal. I don't know if there's going to be snow in your area. Yeah, plasma TVs are bad for the interference. They're really, really crazy, for sure. Chuck CP Davis 5085, clear in the Twin Cities. That's WTWW. What else do we have? Yeah, because mine, like I said, Dr. Sisop, mine is as sensitive as the other ones. So maybe there's something wrong with yours. Maybe check that out. Make sure you didn't get the Chinese one that wasn't yet released. Because I think you got the one without the X. Maybe you got one of the Chinese pre-production ones. Kathleen, in the last days, wasn't able to receive any signals on 20 meter with my RSP1A, just noise. Is this because of the sun, or it can be the RSP1A is somehow deaf on 20 meters? 100 bands are okay. RSP1A is not deaf on 20 meters. I can definitely tell you that. And I think it's maybe just lack of activity because I listened to 20 meters a few times this week. There are quite a lot of stations. Make sure you listen the right time of day, because 20 meters is more of a daytime band, especially now that we are in the going towards winter in the Northern Hemisphere. It's really more of a daytime band now, because after sunset, pretty much dead, which is kind of normal at this time of year. Aerial imaging, even in the modern era, an HF numbers transmission would still be the most effective and untraceable means of communicating to operative. That a friend of mine that is very, very tech savvy doesn't understand that number stations still use shortwave. And I remember telling him, it's perfect. Shortwave is perfect. On the internet, there is always a possibility of tracing where it was received or where it comes from. Even though you can mess up the traces real bad, and some people use VPNs and stuff like that, but just look at when somebody does something bad, even with VPNs and all of that, just look at how they can actually trace it slowly and go to the source and find who it was. It's just a question of wanting to do it. On shortwave, you're in the middle of nowhere with a portable radio. Nobody knows you're there. Nobody knows what you're doing. It's the best anonymous way of getting a message. Even if you know where it comes from by triangulation, because, we could pinpoint somehow where the transmitter is, you'll never know who is listening, because you could be anywhere with a portable radio. You'll never be able to know who was listening on that transmission. You don't know who at all. What else do we have? Well, Chuck CP Davis 5085. The days are shorter, and I noticed I'm getting European signals as early as about 18:30, 19 UTC, and it's still 1:30 p.m. here in the afternoon. So it that propagation changes a lot. So Flash Player is a thing of the past, and most browsers will actually totally remove it from the browser in January. Yep, Anonco is where I got the Texan PL990X. Anonco is a well-known seller of Texan brand and very good service too. Hey, Bill, nice to have you here from Seattle. Dmitry Lavinovich, nice to have you here from Minnesota. And yes, Dr. Sisop, I still do that. Load $8 to get the that was to get the listing of programs on the disk. David Orbrook, nice to have you here from Dublin, Ireland. And let's go down. Estela Garcia. Yeah, what else do we have? Joe Michaels, nice to have you here from London, Ontario, Canada. Larry Bragg, I noticed you have an ICOM R30 behind you. Do you think ICOM will make a newer version that will include additional other digital modes? They need to do two things. They need to have that R30's front end better. So if they do an R40, they have to fix the bad front end of that radio. And if they do an R40, they need to add what is the most popular digital modes. They need to add DMR. I mean, if somebody would ask me what should I buy as a receiver to get all the most of the VHF UHF digital world, I would tell him buy a Whistler or one of those radios. They do a great job and get tons of modes that this thing doesn't get and will never get. I know I'm hard. I know some of you have it and like it, but the front end of the R30 is bad, and very bad decision on the part of ICOM not to include the most digital modes in it, the most popular digital modes in it. It's where I just say it's not worth its price. What else do we have? Yeah, the R30 is well, maybe a couple of years now, but a year and a half, at least a year and a half. But you know, what else do we have? Jeffrey Price, W7WET. First shortwave was his grandparents' huge piece of furniture. Was a Zenith, I think. Huge dial in an arc. Yeah, I remember going to my dad, where he was working when I was young. His boss had a nice shack up north, and it was amazing. We would go up there, and I remember there was this really huge radio. Unfortunately, it didn't work. I would have loved to see that thing work for sure. John Edgar, nice to have you here. Drink responsibly. What are you talking about? Matt says bought some lights today and we'll put them up tomorrow, but they refuse to light them up until after Thanksgiving. Yeah, it is Canadian beers. Absolutely, it's Canadian beer. What else do we have? 2 beers and a radio. That's the name of a new channel. 2 beers and a radio. Oh man, and 2 big beers like that. It's like 9%. It's like, imagine what the radio is going to be like after 2 beers like that. 2 beers and a radio. I like that. Simplio, nice to have you here, my friend. Matt says WRMI used to have Christmas music all year on one of their. Oh yeah, I remember tuning this summer, and I was like, "What? Am I hearing Christmas music?" Yeah, Solar Cycle 25 simply is slowly gaining momentum. It's nice to see that there's some spots, some sunspots, and some activity on the sun for sure. Catalan says saving the radio from the trash is confirmed. Robert Osborne, Radio Mali right now, 5995, some interference. Let's check it out here. Am I hearing it? 5995, AM mode. Let's see what we got. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's Mali. Let's try the same thing and on the Texan PL 990X. So 595. And let's see the 990X. Oh, doesn't get it. Something is not right. Oh, I think something is wrong with the connection. There's more interference. I think it comes from the console. But it's definitely better on the SDR. So this is Radio Mali. Very interesting, exotic music. Yeah, Disposable Society, James. What else do we have? TVDXer says 6880 upper sideband still coming in strong, which is Mixed Radio International Pirate. What else? Let's go down. Andrew Kroll, regarding the beer question earlier, name is Linderman. My favorite is Creek after the first taste. Where did it come from? It's a beer from where? Is it a German beer or just out of curiosity? Because I could look at the liquor store if they have they have a lot of export beer, so maybe I could find it there. So kind of interesting. What else do we have? Rufus Newt was buying up used IBM XTs in the 90s when offices were throwing them away. Sold them to people who could not afford $1,000 for a computer. You know what? I did that a lot as a tech guy. What I would do is I would pick up the laptops if people didn't want anymore, or the desktops. I would fix them up with a new hard drive, stuff like that. When it replace whatever is broken, and I would install Windows. And I always had these. I remember one story is a very interesting story. Is I remember going to a little, it's like it's this this woman, and she's on welfare, and she has her daughter that goes to school, and they have a really, really like bad old computer. It's like she like found a way to pay my fee, and she doesn't have any more money, and it's just like it's very complicated. And I went there, and I remember, and I see that her daughter cannot do some of the school stuff because the computer doesn't, you can't, do that, and she has real slow internet. And I go there, I look at, she's like, the lady's on welfare and everything, and I'm like, yeah, okay, she's gonna give me like, $100 for my visit. I look what's happening, and first thing I look at the computer is like, look, that computer, there's nothing I can do with that. I can't make it faster. I can't make it better. But I looked at her, and the computer was free, and I remember all I did, I think, was just change a hard drive. And I had, tech guy. What do you think a tech guy has? Tech guy has dozens of old used hard drive that still work fine. So I said, look, I can't, so for the fee you're going to pay me, I'm going to do something for you. And I remember, because it was like, $100 for the visit and everything, the time to go there and everything. And I remember I told her, look, it's not going to cost you more. Okay. I'm not going to charge you for today's visit at all. I'm going to come back tomorrow. I will bring a computer tomorrow. That $100 that you're going to give me for my visit and think about that $100 being towards an old computer that's more powerful than what you have, that I will be installing in your home. And I mean, the face that she made, it was like she called me back maybe a year and a half later for something. And she says, you've been so nice to do that. You didn't have to do that. You gave me a computer, because your fee was your fee. I said, look, the computer cost me nothing. I had the parts to fix it. The client gave me the computer. Computer cost me zero. In reality, I'm not losing anything. You're still paying my fee for my visit. And the computer cost me zero, but you got a nice computer. I never wanted to make old computers, stuff like that. I never wanted to. I never sold old computers, because I always told everybody, okay, I got something to replace your computer. But I will tell you one thing very, very fair and square here. You are paying me to install it. That computer is $0. If it breaks down in a month, you don't come back to me saying, hey, you got to come and fix it for free. Ain't working like that. I'm giving you the computer. You got to deal with the fact that it might work for years, but if it breaks down in a month, I got nothing to do with it. You paid the install service. That's it. And that's the way I would do with the old computers, because most of the time, all of them pretty much cost me nothing. I sold a couple that were more powerful because I had to, pay for some parts to fix them. So what I would do is I was like, okay, I'm going to, those I would give a warranty. But I mean, most of the time it's like I would give them away, and I would tell them, you're just paying for the fee for the install. So if in 6 months it breaks, I've got nothing to do with it. And you'll decide whatever you want to do, if you want to pay to fix it or not. Danny HK4DAH. Nice to have you on board. Can the SDR play receiver be put as an SDR internet-based receiver on the air? Yes, absolutely. You can use software like SDR console, for example, to do that. Absolutely. SDR play receivers can be put as on internet-based online receivers. Absolutely. Vianney says, yes, we have snow on the ground here, but not much, 3-4 inches. Okay. So contact Anonco. Anonco, Dr. Sysop is pretty good at it, and usually very, very nice with the if you have problems. And let us know what happens. Catalin W1 VLF, nice channel about VLF and loops. Oh, that's interesting. Need to check that out. Philip Jones found an electric cooker in the trash, and the family had just moved into a new house after premature departure from the RAF. We had no furniture, so I connected it up and blew the fuse box. A friend of mine picked up, in the good old days of CRTs when TVs were still kind of expensive. A friend of mine picked up a CRT TV from the trash, brings it to his place, and is like, "Look, I got a new big TV and works fine." And one night he's watching TV, and the TV just starts catching fire. It's like, okay, it's not a good it's not a good a good thing to pick up an old TV from the trash. Oh God. What else do we have? Aerial imaging. He's not probably interested in having a YouTuber review it. What exactly? 6969 USB pirate, apparently. I'm just going to try to catch up. 15 minutes behind. I'm catching up fast right now. So I'm going to get there. Simblio, a few days ago, I was hearing ZS6HA from South Africa all the way here in Oklahoma on the Texan PL600. Oh, cool. I don't remember the call sign, but there's a 40-meter one from South Africa that is there almost every night. He's still there. I've seen a lot of his of activity coming from him. So Conrad Runfunk, do you like Siemens receivers? Yeah, well, you know what's difficult? Today is to know who makes what receiver for who. So you got all of these brands like Siemens and so on, and you're just like, yeah, who makes the radio for who now? Who makes that CNGN or that Siemens or that And you're like, wow, it's kind of complicated in these days. But the important thing isn't that much of a brand. There used to be, in the past, yes, brand was important. So in the past, in the 80s, we would have bought what? We would have purchased a Grundig. We would have purchased a Panasonic. We would have purchased a Sony portable. They were good radios. We knew if we bought a Panasonic, we had a good shortwave. But then it became really complicated because all of these brands, so Panasonic's not there anymore, Sony's not there anymore. We have brands today that do a radio for 8 other brands, and you're like, yeah, okay, that's kind of interesting. That radio so that's a Grundig radio, but no, it's not a Grundig. It's because Grundig doesn't exist anymore as an official company brand. It's just a name. And then Texan makes that radio for all of these companies, and it's like, I think what's important is let's just for old radios, there were good brands, there were bad brands, there were okay brands. That's cool. For today's radio, brand doesn't mean not that much anymore. I'm gonna tell you that. So it's as long as it works. Hey, Cool AM Radio, nice to have you here, Andre. Charity X says eBay sells BFO kits. Can you believe it, guys? I'm down the chat room. Yes, I have reached the bottom. So, okay. Let's do a little something here. So Tom the Extra has Radio Mali coming in very well. With very unusual music. I will go and pee because I really need to. And we're going to continue the show just after. And we're going to actually talk about what I wanted to talk about at the bottom of the list is let's kind of try to understand a little bit more about EIBI's space website, how it works. And we're going to, so I'm going to ask you guys that want to understand it to kind of follow me, go on the website, and we're going to choose some examples to try to maybe help everybody understand how to, find what station you're listening to, or understand whatever the gibberish of that page is all about for shortwave broadcasting. So I'm back in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to go and pee. And so while we do that, I'm going to put it quiet. So see you in a couple of seconds. And we're back. So let's check out the chat room. Just gonna fill up the beer a little bit more. A little bit more. Okay. Once again, apple flavored Belgian type ale. It's made here by a company called Unibro here in Quebec. Okay. John McAdams, what's the best portable today? That's very subjective because what's the best is they're all really, there's like tons of different portables that are all really good, and it all depends what you're searching for and what you want. But if you have the money to go and get one, you can get a Texan PL 880 or Texan PL 990X are great portables today. But you don't have to shed that much money actually to have such a great radio, and it depends what you want to have. What probably for a lot of people is a big difference today is the fact that portables tend to be small today compared to big portables of the past. Augustin Bernard, nice to have you here from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Hams and Scans, nice to have you here from Newfoundland. Yep, I will retype the webpage. We're going to go and check it out together. What else do we have? Kathleen, where's Paul? Paul is sleeping in the bedroom, and he actually went under the sheets of the bed. I could see a bump, and he's sleeping there. Best bang for the buck radio. No, if you don't care about being if you really don't care about a digital display, good bang for the buck radio, a Texan R9012. Little analog that does receive amazingly well and has amazing sound. Best bang for the buck digital display radio, I would say probably RadioWow R108 is pretty amazing for what it does. Best bang for the buck radio with SSB. It would get to the XH data, but you know what? The Texan PL330 that I'm testing, if it does come to market with bug fixes, it could easily become the best bang for the buck radio with SSB for its price of $79 US. I hope they do. Fix the bugs, because it could be so amazing. So amazing. What else do we have? Yeah, Eric, I would have done that happily if Paul the Cat was here. He's not in the room. So yeah, I need a beer sponsor. That'd be a good one. A beer sponsor. Today's show is sponsored by Meg Beer, the first McDonald beer. Oh, yuck! That I would taste it just because I want to know what it tastes like. But oh man, Meg Beer. So today we have Meg Beer. Yuck! A Big Mac and a Meg Beer. Yuck. Take care, Philip Jones. Sleep well to you too. Can somebody, the Love Boat team, Frank Phillips. Man. What else do we have? Eric Liffey, take care. You should have, you guys should have given time to understand why, because I mean, SV O'Rourke was fine. I saw the comment that he posted, but maybe he's got. Let me just. I can't put him back. Okay. SV O'Rourke, try to come back and explain what you were actually saying. Hams and Scan is becoming a scanaholic. My name is Robert, and I have a problem. I am a scanaholic. Marcos Antonio, which stations are you in so I can use my shortwave radio to tune in? Right now, I'm on 5995, which is Radio Mali, that has this exotic music. So 5995, yeah, depending where you are, you might be hearing Mali. Absolutely. What else do we have? What else do we have? Nino Savat says PL330 is a gem. The SSB tuning bug will hopefully get fixed. Yeah, if they fix that reverse tuning bug, the PL330 would become, for me, would become the best sub $100 radio you can actually purchase, because it is darn amazing. There's a few bugs they need to fix. They need to fix the single sideband fine tuning that is reversed. They need to fix the when you actually want to calibrate the frequency, the calibration doesn't hold. I've noticed that you have to do it regularly, stuff like that. So the ETM mode that kind of jumps in out of nowhere sometimes, that's also a bug I've noticed. But I will say and be very fair that Texan PL330, if they fix all of that, man, that radio is going to kick butt for the price versus performance. I can tell you. Kathleen says, must be a way to update the firmware. And you can't on your own. The Texan radios, and that's the problem with Texan receivers, is Texan receivers are not meant to be upgraded by the user. So all Texan receivers, if there's a firmware upgrade, you need to send it back in for that to happen. It's kind of sad, because I would have enjoyed, just plug a USB cable, go to the Texan website, just download that new firmware to fix stuff. Doesn't work like that. You like my Mick beer, Keegan? Cardboard beer, oh God. Cliff Stumpf. I say Javier Cliff from Dayton, Ohio, KA8GOV. Was listening to the November sweepstakes, and I heard a call sign of a VE3 station, but his province was MB. What is MB? Manitoba. So he probably moved to Manitoba, but using his VE3 call sign from Ontario. So MB is Manitoba, just next to Ontario, to the left, to the west, to the left when you look on the map. Jerry DX, Pirate on 6925 upper sideband. What else do we have? Let me just check it out here. So, okay, we're going to do that. EIBI. I'm going to bring out EIBI space here. So, okay, here I have EIBI space. So, okay, I'm going to put the link, and we're going to do some tests here, okay? Yeah, I know that a lot of people are very, very, I have a hard time understanding that website, and we're going to do a course in understanding what I find is one of the most accurate lists of frequencies right now. So eibispace.de, and I'm going to show you guys two things that I do with it. One is, of course, searching for what is broadcast at a certain time to listen to. And the other one is finding what I'm tuning if I'm just randomly tuning and want to know what station it is. So head on to this page, EIBI space.de. Okay, first of all, everybody wants to follow along, do this to check it out. Ryan CJ3, nice to have you on board. Try 3845 lower sideband. What's on 3845 LSB? And here we go. Let's go here. And we're going to. So here I am. Here I am, 3845. There's static, static. No, not NB, Dr. Sisop. MB. Mexico Bravo. There's Nancy Bravo is New Brunswick. Mexico Bravo is New Brunswick. Nancy Bravo is New Brunswick. Mexico Bravo is Manitoba. What did I just say? I just messed up everything. Larry Cordy, nice to have you here from New York. So I got nothing on 3845, my friend. Erica Charles says Manitoba should have the slogan, Man, oh, Manitoba. Yes, Modit, absolutely, Chastank. I have had a couple in older, in some of the live shows. Matt, MDK2 says Radio Bandicuba seems to be popping up in strange new frequencies on HF. It appears to be on 6950 AM right now. Oh, really? Somebody's rebroadcasting it, or there's some kind of, one of the things that Glenn Hauser often mentions of Radio Bandicuba is mixing products of transmitters. So they use several frequencies, and they pop up on different frequencies that are absolutely outside of the international broadcast bands and so on. So, Okay, if you are on the page of the EIBI space.de, so you know that the schedules have been last updated on 8th of November 2020. You have two choices. Left side, sorted by time, BCB20. Right side, frequency B20, FREQ B20 is by frequency. So what I do is I usually open two tabs in my browser. One contains the BCB20. The other one contains the frequency B20. What's the difference? The one sorted by time is simply all the stations by time of broadcast. Right now, we are 2235 UTC. So go and head on to the BCB20 list, guys, and go down to 2230 UTC. We're going to go down to the schedules on 2230 UTC and see what they have to offer to us. So 2230, the first listing to 2230 is, okay, Chinese station, Shanghai Radio. There's a weather fact station of New Zealand. Let's try to find something. So, okay, it says here at 2230 to 23, I'm going to try it. Eastern North America is Radio Tirana. Let's see if that is okay or not, because a lot of those schedules have been messed up lately. So we have some music. I don't think that's Radio Tirana, but that's 7780. So what I was saying that, the WRMI schedules are messed up here. They are. But anyways, the example here is mostly to show you one thing, is that when you look at the time, you have to look at what's available in your area is the best bet. So the best bet means what, if you're in Europe, in North America, and so on, understanding the abbreviations. Let's take that. Let's now. I totally understand that it's not Radio Tirana probably that we have right now, but let's pretend that it is. Okay. 2230 to 2300 hours universal time is the time of the broadcast. It lasts 30 minutes. ALB is the origin of the station. It's not the origin of the transmitter, and that's very important to understand. It's just the country of origin of the station. Radio Tirana is a station from Albania. So ALB is Albania. Radio Tirana is the name of the station. E for English. ENA for Eastern North America. And then you got the frequency, and then you got a slash, and it says USAO. It means it transmitted from the US, and it's from the Okeechobee transmitter site of WRMI. Yeah, just music right now. We're going to try to see if when there's no music. Another example. Let's go down. It says, what else do we have? Let's see. Any stations we can tune in that could be here. So interesting. Okay, there's one here that is a utility station. Let's try that one. Okay. I'm going to check out if it's received here. And we're going to check out if we can hear it. Upper sideband. So anything here? So I'm not hearing it. Really bad examples today. Point Reyes, California. Okay. 13089. We're not receiving that one. It's from the West Coast. But you guys get a drift anyways, even though we're not very successful. And that will be part of your experience, by the way, on Shortwave. Not everything you see listed, not everything that you see here on the list is going to be working fine and be okay. You might have a lot of stuff you're not going to hear. So it's probably a best example because that will happen, that there's a lot of stuff you won't hear. So anyways, it's mostly to understand the coding here that is important. Make sure that what you tune in or listen to is towards your target area. That's the best bet. Okay? Because that is going to give you an example of what you can hear. And if it's for North America, Eastern North America, ENA, Western North America, WNA, Europe, it could be Europe, EU, could be South Europe, SEU, West Europe, WEU, Eastern Europe, EEU. That's where you have to understand the target area. Because if you're in the target area, that means there's a possibility you can hear it. But you don't have to be always in the target area. Another example here. Radio Havana, Cuba. If you guys look at 2230 to 2300, once again, you will see CUB, Cuba, Radio Habana, Cuba, and you will see S, that's for Spanish, EU, so you guys in Europe, they're targeting to you guys. But I'm in North America. Can I hear it? Maybe. You have to try it. So I'm gonna actually tune 15370. Press enter on minus the R. And let's see. Do I hear something there? There's a very weak station, but it's too weak. Honestly, I'm not getting it. It's not my target area, so chances are it might not actually be listenable. But that doesn't mean to not try it. If you see something that looks interesting, try it. It's there or it's not. If it's there, you'll be rewarded with a station, with something that you actually can hear. And it's cool. But of course, you continue that. So for example, one of the things that I would do, and I will do often, is we're at 2240 UT. Well, that means 2300 hours is coming up. Very often what I do is in advance, I will look at the 2300 hour schedules and see what's there. So Radio Exterior España, but that's only a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday type thing. So it's not in English tonight because we're Saturday. So that's the numbers. The numbers are there for that. 1 is Monday, 7 is Sunday. If you see numbers. So the 23 to 2330, Radio Exterior de España in English, E. is it says here 145, so I don't know if they changed. 145 means Monday, Thursday, Friday. Radio Exterior de España. E for English. AF 11685 is for Africa. ME 12030 is for the Middle East. NAM 9690 is for North America. SAM 11940 is for South America. These are the abbreviations. I know them by heart because I do listen a lot and watch this a lot. It's a question of taking the time. I'm a crazy man, and that means I maybe do too much of this, and maybe I'm totally nuts. But that's how I understand the lists of frequencies. So look what's there and see what's in your language you understand. One that I will actually look at give you guys a little maybe a little attention on is if you look at 2300 UT coming up in 17 minutes. Let's say I want to have something from Europe. Is there anything from Europe in there? One of them is English for Western Europe of Radio Romania, 23 to 24. If you go down the list slowly, you'll see Radio Romania Digital. That's DRM. You'll see just below it, Radio Romania English. That one, there's one for which as the letter J, which is for Japan. Underneath, it says Western Europe. Western Europe, that could be possible for North America also. 7220. That's one to try at 23 UT. We are going to try at 23 UT, by the way. You also have, if you continue the list, you'll see that there's voiceover report of the week. Some of them are by days. So you see MO-FR, Monday to Friday, SAs for Saturday, Thursday, and so on. So some are specific dates of the week and so on. But in there, 23 to 24, just below Romania, we just saw another transmission we might want to try, especially here in North America. Voice of Turkey, Eastern North America, 5960. So in 15 minutes, we're going to try Romania. We're going to try Turkey. And while we wait for that, I'm just going to go back to the chat, go down to the chat, and we're going to try another thing as we're waiting for those stations to appear, by the way. Okay, what else do we have? Take care, CT1 ETE. Matt says, I like to download the EIBI schedule in CSV, which is comma separated values, then split them split the time into start and end column, and sort the whole thing by frequency first, start time second. Cool. That's a lot of stuff we can do. Carol Potch, nice to have you here from Florida. You compare the older Saint-Jean ATS 909X and the new Texan PL 990X this week. What are your thoughts about the upcoming updated ATS 909X2? Well, not having any official radio to test and see how it performs, we can't say anything until it's released. What I hope is that there is a possibility to, fix some of the flaws. And to fix some of the flaws, that means that you need to fix the slight deafness there is on telescopic. I don't know what else they could have. Better audio, that's for sure. It's gonna be interesting to see. It's interesting that they want to actually do a updated version of that radio. I'm surprised that St. Jean wants to do it. Now they backed off a little bit, but apparently January or early next year. I still find one thing that I'll be fair on is I think it's a very expensive radio that It's beautiful, it's nice, but it's not worth it. If they don't fix the bugs that are in the 909X, it's not worth it to pay that amount of price for that radio. It's not worth it that. It's not worth it that. I see now that Radio Stereo España Sunday in North America. Actually, they're to North America every day, but in different languages. So if we go to Radio Exterior de España, 145 is Monday, Thursday, Friday. The one on Sunday, I don't know what it is. Sunday, just because they're in Spanish in general. Simply broadcasting in Spanish. It's kind of weird. So anyways, let's go back here. And go back here. Simplio, usually here 96.90 in the mornings. Erica Charles says, I'm seeing that differently with Radio Stereo España in English as Sunday only to North America. No, there are several days. They're not just Sunday only. There are several days in English. It's not just Sunday only. Cool AM Radio, 6927 upper sideband. Take back the White House radio. Nothing politic about that. 6927 upper sideband. Do we hear anything here? Yes, we do. Not very strong, but it's there. So there is 6927 Pirate, upper sideband. I hear it. I can hear it. Irofumi Yokoyama, good morning from Japan. Nice to have you here. Erica Traw plans on supporting the IBI Space CSV file in the friend plugin for SDR Uno. Cool. Cool. The owners of Universal Radio are retiring. Oh, really? Dear friends of Universal Radio, time waits for no one, and that includes Barbara and myself. We have decided to retire, and our current location in Worthington will close on November 30th, 2020. Even though the store is closing, we will fulfill all existing customer orders and have a large amount of inventory to close out. The Universal Radio website will be maintained for the foreseeable future to sell this remaining stock, publications, and some select products. Unfortunately, the lack of a storefront showroom will preclude us from carrying some manufacturers' products. I am very fortunate to have been in the radio business for over 50 years, 13 at Radio Shack and 37 at Universal Radio. We have met many wonderful people along the journey who have supported me personally, as well as Universal Radio. It has been a privilege to have a continuous career in the fascinating field of radio since 1969. Please accept our sincere thank you for your support of Universal Radio for these many years and for the months to come. So our new address for correspondence that they give and a phone number. Well, you know what? This is interesting because I purchased 2 times through Universal Radio. I remember purchasing through Universal Radio a SWL cartridge for decoding radio teletype on the Commodore computer. I remember that was Universal Radio. And I'm pretty sure it was through an ad that was in Compute's Gazette magazine in the 80s, late 80s. And I thought, wow, this would be so cool to decode digital modes on my computer. And the second time I purchased something on Universal Radio was a Radio Shack the Radio Shack Pro 92 scanner that could do trunking 2 times over the years. Wow, that's a big chunk. Universal Radio has been there for a long time, a very long time. And, wow, changing hobby. A little bit going back to what we said earlier. It's a little bit like what we said earlier. When we get older, the average age of our hobby is getting older, honestly. I mean, we through here, I see that we can get some young generation come in and through YouTube, the magic of the internet. Wow, there's this thing called the shortwave radio, and some get excited. It still exists, but we are still in a hobby that's getting old as a general, average age. And you look at that, and it's like when Radio Shack went away here in Canada. It was like, man, this is the end of a big an era. It's the end of something that's amazing. And you get that, and you're like, wow. And Universal Radio is a known name in radio, and has been a known name in radio for a long time. Universal Radio was, one of those stores, one of those places, well-known places that sold radio and radio gear and equipment and everything that goes with it. I remember I got a Universal Radio catalog once. That's probably like in the late 80s, early 90s. Man, I was drooling over everything I could see in the pages of that catalog. Jim McMullen, great info. Thank you so much for sharing. Jim, 2E0TDR, UK. Crazy. The MLA30, Bill, the MLA30 antenna. Okay, here the real thing with the MLA30 to understand is the MLA30 in a environment. So, is your environment noisy? Is your environment noisy? If your environment is full of noise, a long wire doesn't help. It just adds noise and all of that. The MLA30 has a good chance of helping out in reception in Seattle. Yes. If it's not noise, if it's the fact that you just don't have a lot of signals and it's not very noisy, then I don't think it's going to do anything to help out. What you need to understand is, are you not having signals because it's too noisy? The MLA30 might be a good thing. The MLA30, I saw somebody the other day saying, well, I don't want to buy an MLA30 just to, not knowing if it's going to help here because it's so expensive. What's expensive? It's $40. I'm sorry, but that's not what I call an expensive antenna. It's cheap. Try it out. You just lost $40 in anyways if it doesn't work. What is $40 for a lot of people? I know for some people it's a lot. I'm not saying that it's not a lot for everybody, but what I mean by that is, especially I saw the post from somebody that has like $1,500 radio. It's like, you got a $1,500 radio. What are you talking about? $40 for an MLA30 is so expensive. I'm not sure I want to buy it. You want to talk expensive? I got a $600 W6 LVP loop that I would have bought 10 MLA30s instead. I would have bought one MLA30 and a new radio. The idea is, you're not losing a lot in buying an MLA30. It's 40-ish US dollars. It might make a whole lot of a difference in your receiving experience. That said, it's not a miracle antenna. In a quiet environment, of course, a long wire beats the hell out of the MLA30. Absolutely. But the problem is, if you have noise, MLA30 might be better because it might remove part of the noise and give you some of the reception back that you're missing out on. That's what you got to understand in it. It's very important. Mike Thornton, nice to have you here. WC0L in Kansas. So 3 minutes, we're going to try the stations of the EIBI schedules, by the way. So 7780, yeah, is WRMI, but what I mean by that is that WRMI has other broadcasts. So it might be something else from WRMI. Simplio, Radio Stereo España booming in. Chris Alpha Tango, nice to have you here, my friend. I don't keep passing you up. I actually answered your question, Bill, at least 3 or 4 times, but I'm sometimes behind in the chat room. That's the thing. What else do we have? Hey, don't be sorry for being away for so long, Chris Alpha Tango. You know, we all have a lot of things to do in life. Yeah, in the US, you guys still have some Radio Shack, but here in Canada, it's totally gone. It's we still have the source. It's not called by Circuit City anymore, but it's the source. Throat punch. Yeah, Universal Radio, pretty crazy, eh? Simply, our radio flux has been rising all day. 81 to 85. Woohoo! Let's get that solar flux up. Man. We should all slowly start talking about LTE, LoRa, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi 6. Yeah. Mike Thornton says that's like seeing amateur electronic supply shut down. Yep. Grove Enterprises with, that were running Monitoring Times magazine and all of that. Another example, pretty crazy. Michael, I bought the MLA 32 weeks back, cost me 115 Australian dollars from Texan, Australia. You should have bought it on eBay. You would have gotten a better deal. On eBay, they're 40. My seller still has them at 44 US dollars. And the Australian dollar is not very far from Canadian dollar usually, which would have probably got you shipping included, something like, Texan Australia website is very expensive. Very expensive. Throat punch, $40, a bottle of tequila. Man. Of course, the best antenna, the cheapest antenna is a long wire, for sure. Okay. Here's the thing. It's 23 hours universal time. So let's check out the stations we saw here. Let's go back to our schedules of the IBI space. We said that 23 to 24, there was 7220 that had a station, which was Radio Romania. So is Radio Romania on 7220? It's a broadcast to Europe. So you guys could see at 7220, if you look at it, is Radio Romania International, WEU. It's a Western Europe broadcast. So it's not meant for North America, but I'm going to try it anyway because Romania towards West Europe is in the same direction. Am I hearing it? It's weak, but it's there. But there's 2 stations on the same frequency. We're going to use that example in a couple of seconds. So here in North America, I don't hear it very well. You guys in Europe should hear it better. Another station I wanted to try, 2324, Voice of Turkey. In English, ENA, in Eastern North America, 5960. There's a little E next to it, like Romania has a little G next to it. It's the transmitter site that is the letter. So I don't remember the exact name of the transmitter sites because they have these, names. But I can tell you that Turkey is from Turkey Direct, and Romania was from Romania Direct. Let's try 5960. 5960. Enter. Now, it might be there, it might not. It is today. Here's Voice of Turkey. It's not very strong compared to usually. It's very bad signal. Let's try it on the Texan. Signals are not that good today from our... So anyways, it is Turkey in English. I usually get it better than that. Just going to check the K index. I'm curious. The higher in latitude you are, the more the K index actually has an effect on you. Storeham.net. Let me check the K index. So as of this time, K index. Yeah, K index is rising. That's why I don't have the best of signals. We're at a K index of 3, which is just on the threshold of being unstable. So that's why the signals are not that good. Now, one of the interesting aspects, while we're talking about it, so K index is at 3. 3 is still a low K index. It's geomagnetic activity. You notice how my signal of Turkey was not that great. Usually it's rock solid here. I am closer. So here in Montreal, we are closer to the North Pole than, say, Florida or Virginia and so on. You guys south might have a better signal than me tonight. Why? Because K index at 3 means that there's a little bit more activity in the poles and the geomagnetic activity. Montreal being closer to the pole is also affected easily by what's happening with the geomagnetic fields and, of course, the North Pole and aurora activity. So the more you are north or the more you are south, so the more you're closer to the poles, basically, the more you're affected when the geomagnetic field actually starts to get unsettled. And we're close to the unsettled phase right now. So that's why my signal of Turkey is not as good as it could be. I am getting probably some of the effect of the fact that we're close to being an unsettled geomagnetic field right now. So that's the stations I wanted to try and have you try to understand, and of course, how it works. We're going to check an example. I'm going to go down a little bit more. Javier Fortes Diaz says my MLA30 stopped working. I ordered another one. What happened? Because I mean, I have 3 and they're rock solid and they're outside at the bad weather. They really work really well. Andrew Colt says that the MLA30. Whoops, I lost. Can confirm the MLA30 brought me back to HF listening after trying the $150 plus Bonito MF30 305 FT. Bonito works great when in a quiet environment, but too much electrical interference where I live. So it's cool. Hector Vasquez. Low HF 150, good receivers. They're nice. Yeah, they're pretty. They're good. They're well rated. The ratings are good in general. Shortwave listener, YouTube simple passive loop is very good and has directionality to null out the noise. That said, and this is what I've read, the U-loop, a loop antenna is directional. Even the MLA30 is very directional. You can, that's why the MLA30, when you set it up, the best setup is set it up for the lowest noise possible. That's what you want to have. So it is probably as it's as directional as a U loop, for sure. The U loop is passive. The MLA30 is active. That's the difference? What's the difference in active and passive? A passive loop has no electronic circuit to amplify the signal. An active loop has an amplifier, low noise amplifier, to boost up the signal that it's receiving. What I have read of several people having a U loop and an MLA30 is that the MLA30 beats the U loop. And probably it beats it because it's an amplified antenna. It amplifies the signals, makes them stronger. But a lot of people having U loops seem to be enjoying them. And that's, the important thing is to be happy with what you have. And that's it. Like Sicarius says, best antenna is the one you have. If you can do better, if you have better, it's cool. But you got to deal with what you have. That's for sure. So it's interesting. Oh, throat punch. I was probably annoying the Radio Shack guys so much, going all the time. It's like, you have the new catalog, you have the new catalog, you have the new catalog. Which was cool is when you purchased enough at Radio Shack. Because you guys remember when you would go at Radio Shack for a long time, they would ask you for your postal address. And if you had purchased above a certain level every year, you would be privileged. You would actually get the catalog by mail. I remember the first year that happened is when I bought my Realistic DX100. I remember at the fall, I opened the mailbox and it's like, Radio Shack catalog, this is so cool. But man, I was drooling all over that catalog. So many stuff I would have loved to try out and test out, and man, that was crazy. So, what else do we have? Michael says eBay only had products from US and China, so it's easier to buy locally considering current postage delays. There's no delays. You know what, Michael? The MLA30, most of the people that purchased an MLA30 recently from China, 1 week and it's there. Texas, Australia is I would never buy there. It's way out of price. They are way too expensive. So what else do we have? Hey, Cool AM Radio. Just one thing. No politics of anything, even if it's a joke. Because a lot of people don't find it funny. Do not share anything political, funny or not. Okay? Thank you very much. So there's 2 stations on 7220, and you guys have noted that. I have 2 stations too. What do we do when that happens? Go back to EIBI Space main page. Okay? We saw that there was the frequency B20 list also. Go there, and I use my browser's search functionality. Even on smartphones and tablets, it works. You have the search capability. So in my Windows machine, I'm going to do Control F. On a Mac, you can do the same function, but it's with that button that you guys have. Type the frequency 7220. What's at that same time right now? So let's check out 7220. A lot of broadcasts on 7220. So one is Radio Romania, 23 to 24. What else is at 23 to 24 in there? So let's check it out slowly. 7220. China Radio is there. And VN, which is, I believe, Vietnamese, I would guess. What else is there at 23? 23, Radio Romania. It's the only other thing. So technically, when we were listening to 2 stations on 7220, we were probably hearing Romania English. And if we hear something that might sound like an Asian language, it might be China radio. It definitely sounds Asian language. It pretty much sounds like that. So I looked at what 7220 had to offer at 2300 UT that we're listing right now. We have only 2 stations here. So chances are it's what we're listening to. So 7220 has 23 to 24 UT, China Radio International, VN in Vietnamese, to Southeast Asia. X at the end is for the Zhejiang transmitter site out of China. That means that second voice that we hear with Radio Romania actually comes direct from China, and it's China Radio International. And of course, we have 23 to 24 Radio Romania, English, Western Europe, and it's from the one of the transmitter sites in Romania. So, that's how I use my lists of frequencies, basically. Roger Clark has 5960, pretty good. Cool. SV O'Rourke has Radio New Zealand on 15720 right now. Cool. Matt, solar wind speed was well over 400 kilometers an hour last time I checked. Yeah, it's creating some geomagnetic activity here. Jet Crafters at 5960, good in Maine. Keegan, I got Sanjian HDR 14 HD radio in November 2020 at the same Radio Shack where I got the Ethan Grenick Field BT edition. Cool. Mika Delmage says K is 5 at his latitude. So he's more, he's north of Montreal. He's actually closer to the North Magnetic Pole than I am. And even because of his location in Western Canada. So his K index is higher than mine. So, it's becoming unsettled. Nino says 5960, good in Ottawa. What else do we have? What else do we have? Bob Bartola says receiving Voice of Turkey 5960 S9 59 on his ICOM IC 7300 half wave and fed 100 meter antenna in Pennsylvania. Cool. Let's try it out again, see if it's improved or not. Signal seems to me a little better, maybe. It's a little stronger than it was now.
Multicultural in Anatolia.
Yeah, it's better now. Yes, Cool Am. I do remember the Ghost of Shortwave. Oh, cool. It's going to be fun.
Culture in Anatolia. Until it was tamed with dance, Kazulamak was flowing wildly next day and didn't give much weight to its passers. Giving life to central Anatolia, Kazulamak rises from...
Yeah, make sure, Xavier Furtes Diaz, that it's not just connections that are not right. Because they're pretty rock solid in general, and being just electronics usually work really well.
5,000 square kilometers. The Kazulamak Delta is one of the most important...
Turkey is getting better.
Hosting hundreds of species, you can see marks left by all pages of history of different civilizations and different epochs, albeit a castle, bridge, or tombstone. This makes Kazulamak attractive still today. Since the ancient era, Kazulamak is one of the most important rivers of Anatolia. It bears witness to history from the first settlements on its banks to wars.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people are not answering the questions. A lot of people are answering the questions in the Facebook group. What I do when I see them ask to join the group and they don't answer the radio questions is I look at the profile picture, how long they've been on. How long they've been on Facebook, and I see. So, For example, this week there was one guy that didn't answer the questions, but one of his pictures in the profile pictures is with tons of ham radio gear in the big background. So I was like, okay, as a radio guy. But honestly, if they don't answer the questions, forget it. Forget it. Do not accept. And I maybe I'll have to repost it. Do not ask that somebody can't in the group. Tell that person, join this group. I'm in it. It's cool. Let them do the job. It's very important because there's a difference. When somebody has to make an effort to be into a group, it's because they want to be there. They actually took the time to join it. So let them do it, the job of asking for it. Do not tell, oh, this person should be in the group. I totally understand that you might find that that person is, should be there because of some reason, but just write to them and say, hey, that group is great people. Explain to them what it is and tell them, join. If they take the time to do it on their own, that's because they want to join for real. Okay? But we have questions and we have a way of getting in, and it's a safety net. I mean, the reason I'm asking questions, even that I've been very relaxed on the I agree. Half of the people don't click the I agree with the rules. Honestly, if you don't click that, I should not even let you in. Because the rules are very simple. They're just asking you to not be an asshole in the group. That's what the rules are. And I find it funny that people don't click the yes, I agree. I still, let them in. I'm like, I don't know. People are scared of saying yes to something. I don't know what. But honestly, even that question, I mean, all it asks you is, can you just be a gentleman and not be an idiot in our group? It's all I'm asking you to say, yes, I will not be an asshole in this group. It's all I'm asking. But, that one if you answer the radio questions and you say you don't answer the other one, okay. But you have to be a certain time, a certain age. You can't join Facebook 3 days ago and say, hey, I want to be in. No, 3 days ago, no, forget it. Unless I really know who you are, let me know who you are, and maybe, okay. But Jason Newton from Kentucky, great channel. Just started to learn my way around shortwave radio. I visit your channel regularly for reviews of radios and tips and tricks in finding content. Well done. Thank you very much. Cool. Yes and no. China directly is not always a hard catch. It depends on the time of the year sometimes of, this is the time where usually October, November is the time when we get a lot of the China stuff coming in here in North America. Benny Chabanier says, I'm back. Just had to participate in the Romeo Foxtrot DX Club entry round on the 11-meter band. Cool. Hope you had fun. 45 unit. Remember the Radio Shack battery club? Of course. We all wanted that battery. I would always take that 9-volt battery because I knew that was the best value for the money. What do you do with 1 AA? What do you do with 1C battery? Especially in the 80s. What the hell do you do with 1C battery? I'm going to wait 4 months to power my radio? So I would always take the 9-volt battery. That was the best battery for free. Oh, man. Chris Alpha Tango says, totally agree. If they took the time to read it and took over the group and look over the group and simply answer what need to be answered. But how do you do this if not everyone can read English? Yeah. Well, if you can't read English, really, what are you doing in an English language? You know? If you're not somebody that speaks or understands English, what are you doing in the group? It's in English all the time, you know? Kamaxi76, it's kind of like getting a friend request on Facebook, and the second you accept them, they private message you with a sales pitch. Chances are they're going to spam the group or something. Yeah, you know. Mike Thornton, this is a Shure SM58 is the number. Shure SM58 on the console that I'm using here that I can pop up, for example, Voice of Turkey. Voice of Turkey is much better than it was at the beginning. The group, SVO Rook, the group isn't bad at all. The group is pretty good. You know, we weed out the bad, and we just try to get one of the best place for sure. Yeah, well, that's pretty much the rule too, Matt. Eric Cottrell got a 9-volt battery in the battery club as well. Yeah, it was the only useful battery because everything else needed at least, almost everything needed at least 4 batteries in our good old days of that club. So, you know what? I'm going to wait 6 months to have that thing working? Nah. I'm going to get the 9-volt battery. Come on. Sal Marandola, I can't believe I never signed up for your Facebook channel. I just did. Cool. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Oh yeah, the SM58. The this is like one of the, what do we call, the standards. You know, anybody that buys a microphone, that's the standard. It's, you buy this, you know, you're not going to go wrong. Just buy that, and you're not going wrong. You know. Jack Amalar, nice to have you on board. Just received an email from Arrow Sellers via ODXA. Mike Darton says your SM58 sounds nice. Cool. So we've been on for 3 hours and 23 minutes. I am going to take it easy for the rest of the night. I still am waiting for my Christmas tree to arrive tonight. It says that I should have it delivered before 9 p.m. tonight. That's going to be cool. I want to thank everybody for being here. I will go and eat something and probably come back to the SDR, and I'll be posting in the Facebook group some of the stuff I'm listening tonight. So I hope you enjoyed the show. We are here twice a week. We're here on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 0 hours UTC. And on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Eastern, 20 hours UTC. So hope you enjoyed the show today. Keep posting on Facebook everything you're listening to. HL, salut et bienvenue de Trois-Rivières. Nice to have you here. And hope that you enjoy the show. Hope that everything is cool. Take care, my friends. VE2FGJ. Nice to have you here. Take care. And stay safe, my friends. Okay? In those times of complicated COVID. And see you next week in the live shows. Bye, everybody. It's Voice of Turkey 5960. Listen for the pirates. They're probably going to be more pirates tonight. Bye, everyone. Love you all.